Welcome to Speed Vector, the podcast dedicated to the art, risk, and obsession of speed flying. I'm your host, Victor Garcia, speed flyer, skydiver, cinematographer, Navy veteran, and full-time gravity junkie. Every week, we dive into the lines we fly, the gear we trust, and the stories that push us past the ridge and into the void. Whether you're just learning to launch or chasing the perfect line, this is where speed flyers come to connect, learn, and stoke the fire. This is Speed Vector. Today's episode is brought to you by Strong Coffee Company. Strong Coffee Company offers a premium instant blend for health-conscious individuals. The black fair trade instant coffee provides a robust and smooth flavor. It contains 15 grams of high-quality protein per serving. It also includes 5 grams of MCTs for sustained energy. It's enriched with 250 milligrams of adaptogens, including some words that I cannot pronounce, so I'm not going to. It also promotes better sleep and mental clarity. Doesn't give you jitters or crashes because it has nootropics. This coffee is amazing. You get the spike of caffeine without the jitters associated with it. They're also sustainable and eco-friendly, which is really cool. And it's ideal for those seeking a healthier coffee alternative. Not that coffee is necessarily bad for you. I would disagree with that. But if you want to get just a little bit more out of your cup of joe in the morning or in the evening, if you're weird like that, then use Strong Coffee Company. And if you do, when you go to their website and you choose the coffee that you want, there will be an option for you to enter a discount code. And for 20% off your entire order, if you enter Speed Vector, you will receive 20% discount. Enjoy. My guest today is Jake Long, an Alaskan speedfly shredder. He's also known as Jake and the Flying Pickles on Instagram. There's a good chance you have seen clips of him flying with his dog, his Malinois, Mr. Pickles. I don't actually know if he calls him Mr. Pickles. I just added the Mr. in there, but his name is Pickles and he's pretty rad. He wears ski goggles and goes on paraglide sled rides with his dad, Jake, which is like probably the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. It makes me wonder if that could be in the future for me and one of my dogs. Although I don't think I have the cojones to pull that off, to be honest. Although I find it to be very impressive. He also is a ripping speed flyer. This dude's humble. He is very articulate, and honestly, this is the longest podcast episode that I have managed to put out, and I'm super proud of that. We almost talked for 3 hours. Probably could have, with a brief intermission, talked to him for another 3 hours. I mean, this dude is awesome. Super rad, super nice, very welcoming to people coming to visit his great land of Alaska to fly. We talked about a gambit of things. It's well worth a listen, well worth 2 hours and 46 minutes of your time. I'm going to listen to this one back. That's how much I liked it. I listened to most of them back, just not all of them. All of the guests I've had on, I have listened back. The solo cast, I don't need to listen to myself talk to myself. It's kind of weird. But anyway, sit back, relax, not too much if you're driving, and enjoy episode 23 of the Speed Vector podcast with Jake Long. We're already having a conversation and I just hit record and hope they don't notice, but now we are.
Yeah, it's all
live.
good. It's all good.
Mr. Jake Long, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm great. I'm super stoked to be here. This show is such an asset to our community, and you are a hero for taking on this workload for all of us, because that's what you're doing. You're doing this for all of us. You're not doing it for you. And thank you. Thank you for letting me be on.
Oh, of course, man. That's really kind. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not doing it for me. That's for sure. I mean, maybe a little, but
I mean,
only
this stuff
because
is fun.
it's super fun. I enjoy it, you know. But I like to consume a lot of information when I'm learning something. And when I first started flying, or first started speed flying, there is nothing. Like there was a couple of episodes. I think Cloud Based Mayhem. I had one with Pat Hennessy like in 2016, and then like little like tidbits here and there. I think there's a couple others. I don't know. I'm blanking right now, but like not a lot, you know. And I must have listened to the Pat Hennessy episode on Cloud Base like 5, 10 times. I have no idea, just because like that was the only long form content that I could find. Not that I have anything against short form stuff. Like I'm, you know, a sucker for an Instagram reel, just like most other people, but you don't learn a lot from it, you know. And I've kind of always been into podcasts, so that's why I did it. You know, base jumping has a great podcast. Skydiving has a few like really good ones that are really consistent. Like they're always putting out new episodes. Even telemark skiing has a good podcast, right? And that's like even more me. I'm a telemark skier, so I'm weird and
Oh,
I'm weird across the board, you know. Telemark speed rider, actually, you can add that to the list. But yeah,
dude,
anyway,
that's sick.
it's you know
That
it.
sounds so terrifying that that might be the gnarliest thing that has ever been said. Telemark speed riding. I know a guy up here who will ride a split board, and like a lot of us, I was a snowboarder forever till I started paragliding. If they flew sideways, I would never ski. I hate skis. But he will take his split board and just be in split mode and take off in split mode, and he's got dangling skis in there when he's flying. It's not ideal.
Yeah, that I've
But yeah, to
seen
go
that.
back with like the info that's out there, before Alex started doing his stuff, it really wasn't anybody. There was like one video that was subtitled in French that had like some barrel roll ideas, and I watched that probably 25 times that because with barrel rolls, you know, it they give us like people say like just don't do them. They give you like the abstinence version of the advice because they don't want to say something to you and have you get killed because these wings are so easy to fly now. You're gonna pull it off most of the time until you don't. So like that one barrel roll video, I watched it and watched it and watched it, and then when Alex came out with his stuff, I was like, man, that the flying on the rears video he had, it should be like mandatory to watch that, you know.
Oh,
But yeah,
100,
and like
yeah,
you coming out too, there's going to be a whole nother wave of people like, man, that podcast I learned so much from it. I've already learned so much from it, and
me
it's so
too.
new.
Honestly, me too, which is awesome, right? Yeah, no, so yeah, I should say Alex Amplatz's content is incredible. He puts so much effort into that. That the man is like he's doing it right. I mean, he's really like he
Yeah,
puts his blood, sweat, and tears into those videos and works really hard to make them perfect. And you know, I mean, he doesn't willy nilly put stuff out. You know, I kind of gathered that through talking to him offline. It was like, wow, like yeah, it's a lot of work. So hats off to Alex for sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's pretty much it. I mean, Pro Speedfly School has some really good content coming out
oh
now
yeah,
in English, which is great. Like I don't mind reading subtitles, but it's kind of distracting. Um, Not that everything needs to be in English, of course, but you know, it's helpful when
yeah,
that's the only language I speak. So, um, but no, but they're super cool too. So yeah, I mean, things are on the up and up, and like you said, it's like we're in this era of just technological advancement in these wings. I mean, they are
oh
incredible.
yeah,
Like they're so easy to fly. It's absurd, and they're so efficient. Even the like ones that are considered not efficient are like leaps and bounds better than like the Ozone Bullet, you know, in 2011 or 12, whenever that came out. Like that wing was great for the time period. I was just talking to Todd Higley yesterday out in Chelan about this, and we are just laughing because it's like, yeah, I mean, it totally different world, right? We're like super spoiled, which is good, right? But it's also it comes with a price because, like you said, it's pretty easy to do a barrel roll, but and you're not probably going to
yeah,
pound it on your first attempt, but you will eventually if you don't really know what you're doing. So yeah, I'm with
yeah.
you on that.
Like when I was trying to learn roles, everybody, well, kind of have to tell a little bit of history. I was about 20 speed flights deep, 20 or 30, maybe 50, and I had a failed launch that resulted in me getting very hurt. I was up Bird Ridge in on the way to Girdwood in on the turning arm, which is about 3,000 foot run. And I'm hiking up, and of course, like every other good accident, there's 10 other things that affected what went down. Um, I was new. I was late. I needed to get back home to pick up my wife from work. I had her car. Uh, the wind was cross. It was my second time there, and the weather was turning bad. It was at least what I thought. So I try to take off from this spot. It's very just not a good spot. And you go back there now, and somebody had like turned it into like a wind shelter. So of course now you're telling the story like, oh, back in my day, I went into the ground, and then oh, this is where it was, and it's like just looks horrible now.
Yeah.
Somebody turned it into like moved like all the rocks. But I tried to take off, and I was like 5 feet off the ground, and from my recollection, I just no memory. You know, like 2 seconds into the flight, like 5 feet off the ground, boom, nothing.
Wow.
And uh, I basically had ragdolled down this boulder field, and yeah, I was knocked out for like half an hour, and kept like waking up and going back down, and like, oh, what's going on? Pass back out again. I had like hog tied myself in my lines too, because I was like, so I'd like wake up for a second, think I was paralyzed, go
Mm.
back out, and so that was like the very beginning of my career. I had broken my ankle, broken my cheekbone. I got a cut down my leg, about all the way down my thigh. There's some pictures of it on my Instagram. But when you crash like that in the beginning of your career, people kind of think you, like you said on your other podcast, that guy's going to go in. They thought that was just going to go in again. So nobody wanted to really give me any advice. Nobody wanted to tell me how to do barrel rolls or anything like that, or give me any advice, because they just saw me as somebody that was kind of dangerous. And were they wrong though? I mean, I went in pretty early on my flying career, but yeah, the hoarding of the knowledge is not good. It doesn't work. So these things that we're doing now with the videos and sharing what this conversation could be for somebody could help it so somebody else doesn't go in. I'm really about not gatekeeping that information.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, I agree. Man, that's a crazy story. So how did you get out of that? So you in that incident, you broke
yeah,
your ankle and you had laundry list of other stuff. I mean, you're not walking out with a broken ankle, I'm assuming.
I was a big, huge rock climber forever. And one of these videos I watched rock climbing, this guy was rope soloing and broke both his legs and hobbled out with his poles. And I was like, and he was
Wow.
like, your poles are crutches, always have poles. So I lived and died by that. And if I didn't have those poles, I was at the very top of a 30-foot tall, 3,300-foot tall, mountain, a big tall, and it's known as a hard, hard hike. In Alaska standards, you look at your trails to see your difficulty. If it says hard, you are hoofing up that thing.
It's real. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's real. So uh, my poles, yeah, and I tell everybody, bring your poles with you in case you, especially on hike and fly, because they're your crutches. You're going to get out with those. You might not have gotten out with your messed up leg from what happened to you, but you
Yeah.
could have at least
I would have
maybe not had a helicopter ride.
I would have had to have crawled, I think. I mean, thankfully where I was, it was no factor. I mean, the van pulled up right next to me, right? And they scooped me up and threw me in there. Literally. But no, yeah, man, that I've thought about that, right? Like what, because I fly a lot by myself. I'm usually, I mean, not like super remote, but remote enough. Like it would, like could I crawl out of here? Like how would that work? Where would I go? It's something that I've put more time into thinking about post injury. It's crazy. Okay, so it not that I would wish getting injured on anybody, but I think the sooner it happens in this sport, uh, on like a smaller scale, like obviously if you get really hurt, like that's, most people would probably be done. But you break a bone, yours was more on the extreme end. I don't think it's bad. Um, I mean, it sucks. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's some benefit to it because it's a reality check. Because it's so like we were
Yeah,
just saying,
totally.
it's so easy, and you're not there's no like the perceived danger. And I've said this so many times, but skydiving, right? You're jumping out of a plane that like that's not like a normal thing to do, right? Like it's people like you tell non-skydivers, you skydive, are like, oh my gosh, like you jump out of the plane. I'm like, yeah, it's super fun. Base, you can see where you're going to impact if you don't do anything. It's like not that far away, even a 3,000 foot, cliff in Switzerland, it's still like you see it, like it's just below you. But when you ground launch a, a speed wing or a paraglider, like it doesn't look hard. It's not. It's truly like doesn't take. It's not like a huge athletic like event to like get off the ground. Typically, sometimes it is. Um, so like the perceived danger is not there, and you're
Yeah.
30 flights deep. I mean, 30 flights deep, flying a 3,000 vert mountain in Alaska is pretty gnarly. Like that's significant. Like I mean, but also, and I do want we have to talk about Alaska because I'm super curious, but it's rugged terrain everywhere. I mean, it's a rugged
Yeah.
part of the world, so beautiful part of the world too. um so I mean, not that I would wish anybody to get hurt, right? But it is a good reality check. So how did you bounce back from that? I mean, not to skip over all the ins and outs of what happened, but like what was your return to the sport like?
Well, I I grew up a big skater kid, so being hurt is definitely nothing new, you know. And
Yeah.
no matter what, I've always had this get back on the horse mentality super, super hard. Like, I was kiting and trying to go out like 2, 3 weeks later
Wow.
with like just a hobbled, messed up ankle. I didn't break any bones, but what the doctor said, he ripped all the plumbing out of there, and
Mm.
it was useless for like 3 months. I had broken my ankles before, and I would have rather broken it than what. But but yeah, I super hard just get back on the horse sort of guy. Don't let it affect you because I've been hurt. I've been doing action sports my whole life. If you see my Instagram, I'm a big rollerblade guy. I've been aggressive inline skating my whole entire life,
Oh yeah,
and
dude. I love that, man.
broken, broken every damn thing. I don't know how many times I've broken my wrist. Um, so it's just I've been a mega hard get back on the horse guy. But every single person I've ever met flying in the community that's gotten hurt, no matter what facet of how hard they got hurt or how bad they got hurt, they all said it was a benefit to them because it slowed them down, put them in a reality check. And you know, we're in the age of the internet where we see all our buddies' videos. Sometimes you see one of your buddies just getting it, and you're like, man, yeah, that's rad. I love that for you, but I'm worried about you also. And then, to see them get hurt later is heartbreaking. But to see them get hurt later and it's only a broken wrist, and then they're saying that they're glad they got hurt. Well, are you really glad you got hurt, or are you glad that you got slowed down? You got knocked down a peg? Because we almost need that reality check. We do insane stuff. Like you said earlier, you explain to a normal person, we're just jumping out of planes. And then now you're a speed flying guy. You don't think jumping out of planes at all is insane. And you never really did. And we don't even think jumping off a cliff is that insane. We need that reality check every once in a while. And I don't think you need to get this big face scar like I did. I took a rock to the face when I got that. Uh,
Oh,
you don't need to
wow.
get this $25,000 face tattoo to be told to slow down. And, but another thing is, I was told when I was first starting out speed flying, you're on a dangerous path. Did I really listen? Not really. I mean, I was still learning a new craft, learning the trade, being excited about learning the new craft, like you said earlier, we just obsess and we learn, and nerd out. Like in those moments, it's hard to slow down because you're excited about it. You want to fly. You're doing incredible things you always wanted to do, and it's really hard to dial it back a little bit. But yeah, just to come all back, every single person I've ever met in the flying community that got hurt said it was a benefit. And then,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
I
I
think we
agree.
just need to slow down.
I get hurt, close call, maybe you rolled out a little low and, you know, just skimmed your butt over some grass,
Oh,
that like, I
I have a
don't,
confession to say about that.
uh, go ahead.
Uh, while it's in my head and talking about Alex, I wanted to never give a video to Alex. But I cut in close the other day. I had probably the worst near miss I've had in years at this site that I've flown hundreds of times. Flat top. I just made a video on my Instagram, a love letter to flat top. Um,
Yeah, I saw that. That's really
and
cool.
and one thing about Alaska is we are so close to the ocean that, and we get weird wind things happening. So I was hiking up and I could feel that the wind was kind of blowing from the south a little bit. And the west. You take off from the west and you got to turn to the north in those weather conditions. So there was no wind at all on the summit. It was predicted to go down and like level out to no wind at all. I'm hiking up and it's kind of blowing downhill to the line, not really downhill to the launch, like 90 degrees to the launch, downhill to the line I'm gonna fly. So uh, I'm hiking up and I'm like, it feels a little bit. It didn't feel like too much though. And then I get up to the summit and it's dead calm, nothing. And I'm sitting up there, I'm hanging out for like half an hour, which is a long time. You get up there, you want to get your stuff, you want to be fresh and go. And, you know, so I was thinking that the winds had calmed down. So I go into, I take off, it's dead calm, no air. Um, and hang my right hand turn to the north. It's a gully. I cut into the gully with open trimmers, dump a big divey turn, nice and slow, and I just feel all this wind just woo, hitting my back. Took all my energy out of my turn. Probably should have greased a little bit more beans into there. Probably should have turned it over a little harder to begin with. But with the backwind, it just slowed me down. And when I came around within probably a foot or less of the ground.
Jeez.
And I'm fully down here flaring on the brakes. Brakes
Yeah,
saved your life.
that saved your life for sure.
And yeah, near misses can happen. And weird weather things can happen. And it doesn't matter how many flights you've had. At this point, I've had about 800 flights on speed wings and all sizes of wings. But weird things happen. Sometimes you do cut it in a little low. And you gotta know what to do in that situation, and don't downsize too quick so you can't handle that situation. Like one of my things I had written down was when the ground comes up, the hands go down, no matter what the situation. Uh, that's what one of my instructors told me. And because I had a question about, well, what happens when you're in mid-flight and the ground comes up and you're gonna hit it? You don't want to stall out your wing from cramming on the brakes. And he said, don't think that deep. Ground comes up and goes down.
Yep. Yep.
And that's exactly what I did. I'm sure you guys will see the video when it comes out in one of his videos. But
I'm
which
looking forward to it.
sorry
Yeah.
to like
No,
sorry to like run you over, but man, this is another thing I just have to talk about is
no, please go for it.
everybody is going to have a near miss. Everybody's going to have an incident. Everybody's If you stick around long enough, you're going to see somebody break their leg, on a swoop that looks chill and easy. Um, Talk about your incidents. It's huge up here in Alaska where um, you see people just, I guess, just in my own community, not just in Alaska, that I noticed that all these people, they have incidents. They go into trees, they hit stuff, they land in the road and block traffic and cause some big disturbance. I've seen people spin it into the ground. Nobody talks about this stuff. They don't talk about it to their community. They don't talk about it to like their friends. They try to keep it and hide it in a secret. And I think that's an ego thing. Like they don't want to be out there to the world that you messed up. And that is doing nothing but hurting our community as hard as possible. Because you share your stories, you could save somebody's life. And, and yeah, the part of like being, it's embarrassing telling you guys I cut it in close and almost hit the deck. And I had to send a video to Alex, but I didn't have to send a video to Alex. I wanted to send that video to Alex so that other people could see if you're cutting in close, get on those brakes, you know, do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to share our stories, and the amount of storytelling that you did about your broken leg. I mean, you definitely believe that concept, and that's I commend you for that for
Thanks.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, man, I'm strong words of wisdom there. I agree. I mean, people, it is ego, and I mean, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. This sport, these sports, right? Anything extreme is driven by ego. Life is driven by ego. The ego is not bad, right? I think there's like this negative connotation towards it, like, oh, like that guy, that gal, so egotistical, like they're so full. I'm like, yeah, like everybody has ego. If you didn't, you wouldn't do anything. It is a driving force, not for
Yeah.
everybody, but for most people, right? So, but realizing that, you know, you're you're actually doing yourself and everybody else a favor if you're honest, and that's something that I have taken issue with personally with reels. Um, just showing
Oh
it
yeah.
and not even in speed flying, just in general, right? With social media, you're only seeing people's high points because that's what they're posting, right? Like most people don't have a bad day and like, oh, I'm gonna make a post. It's like, no, like I did something rad, I did something fun, I really liked that ice cream, whatever it is, that's what they're posting. And I get it, but when you're playing with when you're on the knife's edge, like we are every time we leave the ground, because truly, that humans are, just basically bags of meat, and the ground hurts and gravity works. Gravity wins. Gravity's undefeated. Um, but I don't know, maybe we beat them a couple times with like going to space, but they also gravity won a couple times going to space too, right? So gravity's pretty much undefeated. Um, I just lost my train of thought there. That was ridiculous. But anyway, um, I don't even know where I was going with that. But basically, I agree. It is important to share. And part of the reason I did was I didn't have anything else to talk about, man. Like I was just like I was sitting in the same spot I'm sitting right now, with a little bit less equipment, with an above the knee cast, and it sucked to like sit, because this gravity was once again winning. And yeah, it was easy for me to talk about, but I didn't have the platform that I do now. Not that it's huge, but over 2,000 downloads and 22 episodes. Lots of warm reception from people. Like when I
Yeah.
first started this, I didn't know if it was going to do anything. I didn't have a plan. I just had the equipment already for the most part. I've upgraded a little, quite a bit actually, to be honest. Um, and it was really just like a way for me to just talk about stuff by myself to myself. And if people wanted to listen, then cool. I am so like humbled by the fact that like it has had such a warm reception. Like I haven't gotten any negative feedback, hardly at all. Like and really the only negatives is like people just saying they don't want to come on the show. And like I respect that. Like that I wouldn't even call that a negative. It's just like, okay, I gotta work harder, I gotta make it better. I gotta build it bigger so that these
It blows my mind someone to tell you no,
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, I get it. I get it, to a certain extent, but at the same time, I don't. Um,
Well, this is you're putting yourself out there. You're putting your ideas out there. One thing I struggle with my own flying is self-confidence. I mean, you might see the videos and stuff that I do, uh, like barrel rolls and cutting close to terrain. We're all humble humans too, and I'm not that cool. I can't be like that guy. There's no way, you know, Jamie Lee would like this video or something. That's your ego talking too. But like a lot of people are, kind of self-conscious about their own flying, and they think they're not cool, and then they don't want to come on here and talk about it, and some maybe embarrass themselves.
I
I'm
mean,
not worried about that.
well, no, and we will definitely dive into your background because you do some crazy shit and I love it. And I don't mean crazy as an
Thank you.
extreme. I mean like it's just really cool. Like you definitely have like a niche um that you enjoy and then other people enjoy to watch, which we'll totally dive into. But yeah, I mean I think you're right. Like I think everybody is just a little insecure at the end of the day, whether they admit it or not. And they have ego and they have insecurities, right? It's like a balance. And I'm not like a psychologist or anything, but I would be curious if the reason why some people have said they don't want to come on yet or they'll get back to me or whatever is because they don't know if if they would be like a benefit to people. And I'm like, hey man, like I just want to hear your story. You don't have to dive into nuts and bolts of stuff. And um probably one of my favorite episodes. It's hard to pick one because I've loved all of them, all of them with guests. Some of the ones with just me, I'm like, whatever. But the one with Ian Chartani was awesome, right? And I looked back at that the other day and I was like, man, we recorded for 2.5 hours, but we talked for like close to 320. Like we talked for like almost an hour after without recording, I mean, that dude is like a Jedi. He is the most humble dude in the world. But like to have him tell his story and get into nuts and bolts was super cool. So I don't know. I pinched myself a few times and I have imposter syndrome, because I'm a 500 flight, wonder. And like, I don't post a lot of my flying on Speed Vector because it's not interesting. Like I just,
See right there.
no,
That's what I was talking about.
but it's truly not. Like my favorite place to fly is 600 vertical feet. And I love it. If I could fly there every single day forever, I would. Like I'm not super inspired by like big mountain stuff yet. I feel like maybe I will be, but I'm just not. Like I love flying parachutes and I don't love I don't love the feeling of not knowing if like a new place. I go to a new site or whatever and I'm trying to figure out if it goes. Or even my friends have flown it and I know it goes. There's this spot that's like 20 minutes down the road. A lot of people have been flying lately. Super rad. It's like 20, maybe 3,000 vert, like some features, but no trees. It's like, it's steeper than hell, and it's got this like perfect LZ. It's like grass, and the launch is perfect and the hike is doable. It's like people have been lapping it, 20 minutes down the road. I drove 2.5 hours yesterday to fly my 600-foot ridge that I've flown 380 times or something, out of like 500, right? Like it's like ridiculous. But I could have just driven 20 minutes literally from my door, 20 minutes away. I can see it, it's just down the road. But I didn't because it's new, right? And it's scary. And I have to like think about it. And I'm like worried, it's like, oh, like I don't know. I I don't know. But I am inspired by people that go out and
Yeah.
do big stuff because it's cool. But that's why I don't post myself too much on there because it's like it's not interesting to anybody but me. So I put it on my personal page, but which is private, right? I mean, anybody can request. It's fine. I'll be your friend on Instagram. It's cool, but it's not like I'm like broadcasting, if that makes sense. So to each their own, though. To each their own. But
But like you said in one of your episodes, are you going for quantity or quality today? I mean, there's something to be said about quantity. You need the quantity. The quantity is going to save your life. The quality is for the soul. You know, the, you go do this big 3,000-foot mountain that's new to you down the road from your house. That's going to make your soul happy. The
yeah,
the quantity flights are going to make your legs happy and not broken.
right.
And there's nothing wrong with pounding out laps. Like honestly, a lot of my videos, like with me and the dogs running with me on the ground, that's like a 600-foot tall, 500-foot tall little bump in the road, and I'll fly that thing 10 times in a day while people are going up to the summit up the ridge, and I'm having probably more fun than they are. It's not I don't think that's what it's about. uh, there's when I started out paragliding, and when there's paragliding happening, there's times we would hike up And guys wouldn't even take their wing out of the bag because they didn't want to put it back in because they didn't think they were going to fly for 2 hours. I am not that guy. And I always said, if I am that guy, it's time to put it away.
Yeah.
You know, uh, you're the 600-foot tall hill looks rad as hell. And I want to go out there. I want to go to Chelan and hammer it out there. It sounds sick. Uh, there's nothing wrong with quantity over quality because one thing I've realized with my Instagram following is there's probably more people following me that aren't paragliding people than your probably standard Instagram people, and they don't know that it's 600 foot. They just see this amazing, beautiful thing we're doing, and
Yeah.
you got cool flying, man. Don't be like that. You got,
Uh,
like
you know,
everybody thinks it's awesome, and
right. I mean, it is, right? It is. But when you are wondering what your peers are going to think about it, right? Like, and that's a huge catch point too, right? That I've talked about before. We
yeah,
talked about other people. It's like, yeah, I mean, you want to be accepted by your peers. I don't really care if like the whoever, right? The random, quote unquote, civilian, right? Like the normal people aren't.
I call them civilians too.
I'm like,
That's
I
a
don't know
perfect
how to
name
like
for them.
say this without, like
Ground
I'm not trying to be
civilians.
rude, right? Yeah, ground, yeah, the ground pirates or whatever. I don't know. No shade, right? Like it's all good. It's definitely not for everybody, and I'm cool with that. But um, yeah, I mean, it means more to me when someone that rips is like, "Yo, that was sick," versus like someone that's never seen it before that's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Is that like, my God, it's extreme parasailing. No, I'm
Yeah,
gonna be respectful and tell them and explain it in a way that makes sense. Most people are like, "Speed flying, is that like the squirrel suits?" Like, no,
yeah,
not quite, not
yeah,
quite, but I mean, same, but way different. All my wingsuiting buddies are going to murder me if they listen to this, and I'm like, yeah, it's the same thing. It's not. There's more
it's
factors.
not. I mean,
That is the extreme leading edge of literally of walking that thin line. But I mean, I also know a lot of well, not a lot. I know a couple of former wingsuit base folks that gave it up and switched to speed flying because it's like a similar visual, slower speeds, maybe more
yeah,
control, but similar visual. You know, I guess. I mean, proximity to Earth, basically, I guess would be the only, other than the fact that you're leading with your literal head, uh, with a wingsuit. But I digress, man. Dude, so tell me, so you
what?
you have 106,000 Instagram followers, which is outrageous.
Yeah,
You
something
have
like
the
that. It
most.
is outrageous.
You might have the most, and I haven't verified this, but you might have the most followers of a flying page because you don't have a lot of other posts, at least in the last couple of years. It seems like that aren't flying related. I could be wrong, but I didn't go back super far to be honest. But uh,
There's some rad welding stuff in there too. I've been a welder my whole life, and you
nice.
can't have an Instagram and not show your sick welds. You
Dude,
can't not do
man,
that.
that is an
But
art. I suck. I can cut stuff with a welding torch. I guess it wouldn't be called a welding torch. This is how little I know about the terms with that. But
plasma,
yeah, I can cut stuff pretty good. But you asked me to weld something, and it just looks like a 3-year-old, is coloring outside the lines. Basically, I have a lot of respect for that. That is a very cool trade. Very cool trade. What do you work on specifically? Like, do you have like a
um,
niche?
I was what you call a specialty welder. I would basically only weld piping systems for nuclear power plants and oil refineries. And
Okay, that's I would say that's
basically,
specialty.
the guys that you would call for like some really expensive, fancy pipe that maybe costs $1 million for a little section. Uh,
Wow.
I would be the kind of guy you'd go to call the weld on that, or probably the highlight of my welding career would be uh, the North Slope of Alaska, the top of Alaska. I don't know if you ever hear on the news and they're talking about crude oil prices, North Slope crude or crude oil prices. It's from there. Um, and I worked in those facilities a lot. And you got to be a good welder to be up there. And they've been up there since the 70s, but they sold and transferred owners, and the previous owners did not want to weld on any live lines. So that's pipes with product already in them. But it's kind of a thing that we do in our world. If you're super mega welder, you're going to go weld on a live line because it's too expensive to turn it off.
Right.
And I was the guy that you would call for that sort of stuff too. And when the North Slope changed ownership, I was the first person to weld on live lines again for them.
Wow.
And it was pretty cool. One of the pipes was 36-inch diameter, so it's 3 foot inside,
That's a big pipe.
and enough natural gas flowing inside of it to power a city of 1 million people for like 3 days.
No pressure. Don't screw that up, right?
Yeah, don't blow a hole in it and kill everybody around. That's the kind of welder I was. So,
That's impressive.
like you were in the Navy. We are just cut from a different cloth. That's the kind of guy I was just at work getting paid. So of course we're pretty chill and down with the bed sheets and string and jumping off of cliffs and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. There is like a very like I think there's a straight line through everybody that does this. You just are on one end or the other a little bit, or more so, but there is a common denominator. I'm still trying to figure out what it is, but
Yeah.
you just touched on it. It's in there somewhere, but it everybody I feel like has something that is similar, whether it's known or not, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm getting really
Whether it's known or
philosophical
not.
today. I don't know what's going on with me. I think I've had too much Red Bull or something, but um, this is like a philosophy podcast about speed flying. No, man,
That's cool, man.
I do my best, dude. Sometimes the brain works. Most of the time it does not. But today I feel like it's at least firing a little bit. So no, dude, honestly, like hats off to you, man. I have a lot of respect for welders. I've done some carpentry. Love it. I love building stuff. It's super fun. I'm not the best,
Sick.
but I love it. I can cut stuff pretty straight, I measure it, they say measure twice, cut once. I measured like 12 times and cut once. So um math, but
We say we do it right because we did it twice.
perfect. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude,
But
yeah.
where were we going? Oh yeah, all
I
the
don't
all
know.
the Instagram followers.
Yeah, so
Uh,
you have a melon wall? Did I get that? What kind of,
yes,
yeah.
I do.
So tell me, okay, so first of all, Jake, you're from Alaska. We skipped over that. Jake from Alaska.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Obviously, beautiful place to be living and flying, harsh place to be living in general. I'm sure the weather is amazing. You guys are getting a ton of snow right now, and I'm very jealous.
Oh yeah.
I watch the snow very closely, obviously, because it's my livelihood in the winter. I need snow to make money. But you have made quite a name for yourself on the Instagrams with you and your flying dog. How did you start this? Tell me, just start from day zero with this and just give me this.
I like to say people that Alex Honnold is known for soloing, but he's usually climbing on a rope. I might be known for flying with my dog, but I am a speed dude. 9 times out of 10 or more, I'm on my speed wing. Flying with the dog is like once, twice, 3 times a month. But I always try to compare stuff in analogies. So paragliding is a lot like it's a lot like skiing on a powder day at the resort. Sometimes you're just like, we gotta get it, more laps. We're learning this. We're doing this maneuver. This next flight, we're doing that. We all know, true skiers know, you have way more fun on a bluebird icy day at the resort on groomers most of the time. And that is exactly the premise of like flying with the dog, because you can't be hammering 100 miles an hour into the ground every single time you leave the ground, you know? And plus, how are you going to go on all these hikes and not take your dog? Like, what the hell? So,
Touche. Yeah, it's a good thing my
like,
dogs aren't listening to this right now. I got you in my headphones. They'd be barking at me. Yeah.
take them to the 600 footer and let them chase after you. There's nothing more fun than taking a mini wing and being kind of chill, or even your speed wing, and hammering those runs out. But basically, like I said earlier, I've been an oil field welder my whole life. So that all that means is I'm an alcoholic, and I quit drinking, and I'd been thinking about wanting a dog, and my wife has two dogs, and I never had a dog of my own, and I was like, I want a dog, I want a dog. It's St. Patrick's Day, not drinking anymore. The the rescue has an event going on to go look at dogs, and let's just go see what they have. Let's just go see. And of course, I had no idea what a mountain wall was when I got him. I was like, that dog picked me. He's adorable. We're going home. And the person who was running the rescue, um, I've been a huge avid rock climber my whole life, and that's something we'll talk about here. I'm sure, Mister. I used to be a pro rock climber, but the person who was running the rescue recognized me from the rock gym and me being there all the time, and they were like, "Yeah, we weren't going to give you that dog unless we knew that you were of the lifestyle that I am." I was like, this is a dog. What are you talking about? I had no idea I was getting a Velociraptor, uh, a insano dog. But yeah, so I got him when he was like 4 months old, and I knew right away I was going to fly with him. Of course, seeing Usco or whatever, the big white fluffy dog on Instagram. I
I
don't know if you've seen them.
I
There's another guy flying with this dog.
I probably have. I probably have.
I think it's Hardcore Igor, who is the super gnarly acro pilot. I might be getting this wrong and embarrassing myself, but I'm pretty sure him and his dog, they have quite the following also. And I was like, man, I just want to fly with my dog. I'd already been flying for a while. And yeah, we just pretty much immediately started going to the smaller hill that I was telling you about. It's called Blueberry Hill. Um, you'll land there and you will stain your wings. There's so many blueberries on the landing.
Oh, that
Um,
is cool. I love that. Oh, I'm jealous.
so yeah, so anyways, I got this awesome dog and realized how special a Malinois is and how smart they are and how much you can train them. And the training, just we trained a lot to get him to fly. It was like 10 tricks put together. They need to come into your legs on command. They need to stay very good on command. Be not afraid of the wing. All sorts of little things. And plus, he's got to like it. If he didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. And if you see my videos, I think it's pretty obvious
Oh,
that he
he's
likes it.
stoked, man. He's stoked. He lives for that. I can tell. I'm like, this dog is the happiest
Yeah.
boy in the world.
He gets so mad when I take the magic backpack out and leave him at the house because he knows what backpack is what.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, what an awesome breed. Not to steal the spotlight for a second, but I've been around some
Oh yeah,
Malinois that were trained to do certain things, and dude, I didn't even look those dogs in the eye. They were so freaking scary, but they're like also the most loyal, lovable. Like
yeah, perfect.
they will literally die for their owner, like without a question, without hesitation. They are incredible. And to watch them work,
Yeah,
dude, I was like, they were like, "Oh, you wanna get in a bite suit?" Because I was a secondary handler for avalanche dogs in Utah for a while, and then I joined the Navy, and then I ended up somewhere that had dogs, and um, I was like, yeah, I think I'm good, man. Like, I think I'm all right. I kind of regret not going, like, taking that offer, but watching this meat missile run at somebody at 60 miles per hour and launch themselves 5 feet in the air and latch on, I'm like, yeah, I think I want to like stay healthy. But yeah, but I
yeah,
mean, but they're not all trained to do that kind of stuff, of course. I mean, they just need a job, right? So um I was watching a couple of those videos the other day, and I was like, man, so I a few months ago, like, I don't know, I was still in a cast, but I had gotten a new wing, and while I was hurt, which is questionable. And I laid it out in the backyard, and I brought my border collie outside to see what she would do, and she immediately beelined it and stood on the wing, because she was like, "What is this thing?" And
yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, how do I get her to not do that? It's like it's hard. So I mean, the training alone just to get your pup, which remind me his name. I'm sorry,
Pickles.
Pickles. That's right. Okay, I thought I was going to say beans, but Pickles. Yep. So Yeah, the amount of training that it took probably to get Pickles to where he's at now was a lot. But like I said, that breed is so smart and they're so eager. So I'm sure he was probably stoked to be learning something. And obviously, like the reward is he gets to fly, which is crazy. Um, but yeah, what was that like? You kind of already alluded to it. It was like a lot, but how long did it take you to
Um,
get to the point where you were leaving the ground with him?
well, it just starts out with being the kind of person that's going to have your dog with you every day too. Like that's the kind of level of training. Like my dog comes to me to work. He's the shop dog. Um,
That's
I
cool.
trained, work with a bunch of welders. I have him trained to, if I see a friend from a distance, I'll say, go bite him in the dick. And he'll go run up to him, really scary, and then, love him and hop on him and be happy. But I just had to say that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, see, we digress.
I love that.
But how do we get him to not be scared and everything? Well, it just takes a lot. I mean, you're going to be with him every day. Um, the most important trick you're going to have to need them to know is to stay very, very well. You got to tell them you stay right there and they're not going to move because you got to get your wing ready. You got to get everything going. And then for them to stay there and then for them to come, at least the way I do it, come running between your legs so you can clip them in at the last second. Because if you get a gust of wind or something that happens that picks you up and plucks you, you want to leave your dog there.
Right.
You don't want to have to be cheese grater connected to your dog or chase after your wing that's blowing away. But the biggest thing is don't go out in those conditions, first of all. But lots of kiting with the dog. I didn't bring the wing out really around the dog until it was time to kite because, yeah, it might be there on the ground and your dog might walk on it and ruin it. It's another thing you got to teach them. But you need to teach them that that thing could randomly just come up, and
Right.
it's a scary noise and it's a lot of action and
Yeah.
that was difficult at first because he might be a Malinois, but he is the biggest sissy that ever happened as far as a dog. He probably failed out of some academy somewhere. That's why I even have him at all. But
There's a lot of that for sure. Yeah, that well, at least he's at the best home, so he lucked out. He
yeah,
definitely won the lottery in terms of rescue dogs for sure.
yeah. But like staying, coming in between your legs, and being able to run in between your legs. If you got those down, you're getting off the ground with your dog for sure. And the way I trained him to run in between my legs, got first walk in between your legs, and then we'd rollerblade, and he would have to sprint full speed in between my legs, and I would say, "Let's fly, 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 fly," so
That's
that he
cool.
knows when I say "Let's fly," he's gonna run forward. And if you see in my videos now, he's actually gotten like better. He checks the wing. I lay the wing out so good that I should be better at checking my wing. That's what I'm trying to say. But he will lunge forward and like he is a perfect tandem student now.
That's
But
so cool.
it just takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of little steps coming together, and you just got to remember though, if you're going to do this, I have probably 100 people a day ask me how to fly with their dog, and I'm sure some people are going to listen to this. It's like, don't fly with your dog unless you know why you want to fly with your dog, because you want it to be a chill day. You know the conditions, you've trained your dog, you've had the gear, and you're an avid pilot that knows you're not going to get yourself in trouble because it's not normal to fly with a big weight in between your legs or land like that or take
Yeah,
off like that
no
or have to
kidding.
think about all those other things. You need to have your own internal checklist dialed hard, you know?
Yeah, you're adding a lot
Yeah,
of factors, a lot of extra that
yeah,
are on top of already a laundry list of factors. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
shoot, I can imagine that would be definitely like picking the right day is critical for sure. Forget about all the other,
And the right launch.
yeah, be the right location, right day. I mean, um I bet it's, like you said, like 1 in 10 or a couple times a month you're doing that. It's is that because of the weather? I mean, or just because
Uh,
you have your own goals and priorities, of course, but
yeah, it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, one of your guests, you asked, what's it like having so many sites to fly at? Well, the weather's going to tell you where to go for that day. And sometimes your homies are all going out too to the paragliding site, not the speed flying site. And at this point in my life, I only fly big wing with the dog. I just don't care too much about cross country pursuits anymore. I used to be really into that. I used to fly a Sea Wing. It was a Fia Allegro light, kind of on the snappier, more dynamic side, 2.5 liner. Um,
Wow.
I'm just not really about those pursuits anymore because and yeah, so the weather is going to dictate where you're going to go. And most of the times I know where I can speed fly, and that's just my pursuit. That's my discipline. That's what I want to do. That's why I got into paragliding to begin with, was for speed flying.
That's cool. Yeah, something we
Yeah.
skipped over. Actually, I'd love to hear about what was your path into flying?
Uh, Let me check my list
Check your notes.
because I had a funny story. Oh yeah. Um, Being a welder, I worked at the small mom and pop machine shop where we did machining and welding, and we had this just insane list of characters that would come in there. You know, we would work on anything. So we had this one guy who was a pilot for Alaska Airlines, and he was a paragliding pilot. And he'd kill me if I say this, but you know, he was a little bit plumper, a little bit heavier weight, and I was heavier weight back then too. I was about 240, 250. Um, and I'd done a tandem skydive. You know, first of all, you do a tandem skydive in Alaska. The place that we have here, I hope you get to come to our drop zone one day because you fly up top over this, you know, Matanuska Glacier, and you know, on the ride up, I forgot we were going to jump. But anyways, I did a tandem jump, and of course, it was better than what everybody says it is. We don't need to tell people here on this community how good that is. But so I had
Nice.
made up my mind. I am gonna jump stuff, and people like us too. It's almost like our fate is sealed. We knew we were going to get into air sports in one way or another. Like, how could you see the things and not do them? How could you not have four paragliders in your car at all times? You know, like how could you? How could you not? But
I'm with
man,
you,
really
man.
spinning off topic.
No,
But
it's
anyways,
I
I
love
was
it. I
working at
love
this machine shop, and we had this buddy come in who was a little bit plumper, and he was a paragliding pilot, and he wanted us to make rockets. And so we were machining rockets for this guy that were like this big and like 8, 10 feet long, and they'd go 100,000 feet, whatever, yada yada yada.
it. Dang.
And he would always be like, he would
Is that
be like
from
filming
Eagle?
for his YouTube channel in the shop. So we got to be good friends with him. You know, Rocket Man's here, and he's telling me about how, man, I'm just obsessed with paragliding right now. Just obsessed with it. Can't get enough of it. And I'm like, how are you getting off the ground? And you know, I was like, man, that's so sick. So fast forward a little bit longer to 2020, I have just a horrible movie style divorce. Like she takes the kids and runs away. Just a movie. That's a whole podcast with broken fathers, different podcast. So I was going to start skydiving, but it's COVID, and none of the centers are open. But my buddy, I was telling him about that. He was like, man, my wife ran off. I want to start skydiving, but the place isn't open. He's like, come paraglide. And I was like, that is a wonderful idea. Called the school, um, went out kiting for 8 hours like the next day at this little coastal site. The instructor that I had also been through a movie style divorce. So we were like sensei of the sad boys, uh, learning how to fly together, hanging out every day in the mountains. And but my first day kiting was like 8 hours of kiting, and there's like this 60-foot little hill where it was like a plateau, hill, mud flats, and I made it off one time, and the instructors let me. And I had the most pilot induced oscillations. Like I almost crashed into the ground like 4 times. And he was like, "You do that again, we're not going to do this." So he let me go off one more time, and it was sunset. And you talk about the magic moment, you know, like you leave the ground, it flew straight, easy and chill. The sunset's there, you're in the ocean, you're in Alaska. I mean, just all the magic. The the angels are singing. So I'm just head over heels for it, you know, and I'm just obsessed with learning, and that ADD obsession is just through the max. I'm going out every day after work, and it just became my life immediately. And then, you start, you're such a new person in the sport, you don't even know the full scope of the sport. Like the first time you went skydiving, you didn't know about swooping. You didn't know about how rad everything could be and all the different facets and stuff. And I was just mind blown at the fact that, uh, my instructor like wanted to wrap things up so he could go fly 100 miles.
Wow.
Like I didn't know that was a possibility. He's like, yeah, here at like 4 o'clock we need to go so I can get to the launch and we can, hit the end of the day thermals. And I'm like, what are you? I didn't even know you could go up.
Yeah.
I just saw the crack in Jamie Lee, and I was like, you know, sick. I want to speed fly. I want to do barrel rolls. I want to do this and that. Um, and also just living in Alaska, you're gonna see people paragliding. Like I was on a hike and like 15 years ago and just saw people flying over my head, and I was like, I'm gonna do that one day. And my ex-wife at the time was like, nah, nah. But yeah, that was the start of my paragliding career. Was horrible divorce. Skydive centers were closed. I'm glad they're closed because now my whole life has been altered, and I would be bankrupt if I was a skydiver. I know for a fact.
Oh, dude, it's atrocious, man. I love it, right? I miss it, right? I haven't jumped in a while now. It is like leaving the plane is my favorite moment in time ever. Like it doesn't matter what number jump it is. It's like that. No, it's this moment of being kind of concerned and then just like complete, acceptance of your fate. And it's just so cool, right? To detach from something like that high. But um I have a question for you. So because I came from skydiving to speed flying, I don't actually know what this is like, but I know in the skydiving world, some some guys that I was going through like my A license training with back in the day were like very vocal about they were only skydiving so they could base jump, and like the instructors hated them for that. And that was actually my intention at the time too. So, but I just didn't verbalize it because I'm like, I want to learn to skydive. I don't really care about base right now because it's in the future. Um, did you verbalize that your intention was to move to speed flying to your instructor? And if it was, is it as taboo in the paragliding world as it is in the skydiving to base world? Does that make sense?
Uh, totally. I have in my notes, I have a bunch of stuff about clashing between the paragliding world and the speed flying world. I mean, I vocalized that I wanted to get into speed flying, and there was a couple other guys in like my group that it was like five of us or four of us that were getting trained at the same time to get our P2, and they did not really like that because back in 2020, I mean, I think the Rapido was out, not the Rapidos. Maybe the Rapidos was about to come out back then.
I think you're right.
I don't know my time. Because so think about the bad ideals that we have now around us. It was kind of even worse back then because the technology was worse. People were getting hurt worse. I've heard people say things like speed flying. That's not a sport. That's like base jumping. That's just an activity you do and get lucky till you die. I've had paragliding pilots tell me that. But yeah, they were very cautious. They didn't want me to get into it too quick because, first of all, I was a bulldog, is what they called me. I was always hammering off the launch, trying really hard, overcommitted, you know, um, which is probably came from like my skating and snow sports background of where you just go and you try. It's
Yeah,
not that kind of sport,
full send. Yeah, full send. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, me and another guy in the group, we were trying to become speed pilots, and it didn't help that the other kid in the group, the first thing he buys is like an 11-meter Mirage,
Hmm.
and goes to a site that he was told not to go speed riding because it was a mandatory takeoff. You don't want to do your first speed riding site where it ends in trees.
No.
Where you have to take off.
Yeah,
But
no, no.
another problem with this site and in Alaska in general is the wind could be dead on top and cooking 30 miles an hour on the ground. That's not usually the case most places. But
That's
so that
wild.
happened to him where he took off and he had his trimmers fully open, going backwards, and went through the trees, down through the canopy, ripped his wing in half, and was very lucky to be okay.
Wow.
And that was like right, we had graduated our P2. We only got like 30 paraglider flights. We had no business doing stuff like that.
You know,
But
it's so interesting to me because the more that you learn in these sports, the less that you are willing to risk. Like I look back at like my,
yeah,
my first, I don't know, and all I did was speed fly when I first started doing it. Like we had left Hawaii, we moved to Washington. I was able to find places to fly, and I look back at my logbook and I look at the spots that I was flying, and I was like, dude, I did not know how insane that was. Like, and I'm not talking big mountain stuff. I'm talking like there's this park that's like down the road from us that would legitimately be the most fun place to fly, with the caveat of it has multiple sets of power lines, a barbed wire fence just below the launch, and a like a creek with like mowed grass that backs up. So like picture this. So like the mountain ends, there's grass there, and we're talking like a 50-foot wide section. It's like 100 yards long. So it's just like a ribbon, it's like an airstrip basically. Huge trees, a river thing that's, creek, river, whatever, more trees, and then a massive field, right? But you couldn't launch there, at least where I did, and make it over the trees. So I had to just like huck a right turn pretty soon after launching and land in this field. And I'm like, I probably did like 20 laps there, right? And it's like 300 vert. It's nothing crazy, but it was like, it's super steep. It's like nice. It's like, it it would be a great place to get some laps in if it wasn't for all the obstacles, right? I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot long pole now. Like there's just no way. I mean, because it's dumb, right? It's like, shoot, man. And I launched there in I tried to launch there in a tailwind once, and I was flying like a 15-meter Spitfire 2 plus. So like, docile enough, but still a speed riding wing. So it's pretty aggressive for what it is. In that size. I'm sure smaller sizes probably rips, but I got off the ground. I got in my harness too quick because I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, this is like my fifth flight, and or fifth attempt, and I just like slid on my butt down the slope and stopped like within 5 feet of his barbed wire fence, which is like mid slope, but it's 300 vert, so it's like not that far away, right? And I was just like, wow, that was cool. And then I went back up there and I launched within the same wind, and I got off the ground and I like did my little right turn and you know slid on my ass, and with the sprinklers on too, dude. They were like watering the grass. It's like a disc golf course or something. It's a beautiful park, right? If we could just get rid of the damn trees and the barbed wire fence. But anyway, my whole point in saying this is knowing what I know now. 500 flights later, whatever it is, like I wouldn't do that. A, because it's not that exciting, But B, it's like the risk is too great and the reward is too little. So like you're
yeah,
like the guy you got your P2 with, it's like he didn't know what he didn't know. He's like, oh, it's a speed wing, it's Steve, I got my skis on, I'm gonna go fast and I'll get over those trees. It's like, well, are you sure? Like, how do you know? It's like ignorance is bliss until it slaps you in the face and then it sucks. So,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
It's a miracle that any of us make it past the intermediate stage.
yeah,
You know,
especially people that don't have like that aren't flying with mentors or with an instructor all the time until you get to a certain proficiency, and something that I think is changing for the better is USHPA's, and I know they did this a while ago, like I get it, but like it is becoming more of a thing now, like the S system, the speed riding rating system, um, there are inherent issues with that. We need more instructors, right? We need more people that can allow people to be instructors. There's like 4 in the US right now, and it's like not
yeah,
impossible, but you got to go. It's just if it was easier to access, there would probably be more people that are, because there's definitely people that are qualified to instruct. You are qualified to instruct. You need like it's some ridiculous number. It's like 750 speed flights, all greater than a mile apart, so you can't do it on the same launch, and you need like 400.
yeah. Those rules are interesting.
They're really oddly specific, and I think it's tailored to like Point of the Mountain in Utah, because I guarantee you. Well, and Carl's super cool. I'm not blowing like talking crap or anything. I actually like him, but um he wrote it. he was the guy that wrote he might have had some help, I don't know, but my understanding is he wrote it. Obviously, Utah's that's where he lives. He lives in Salt Lake, or around there. So I could see someone being like, "Oh, I have a 2,000 speed flights off Southside." Well, it's like, okay, I mean, that's a lot of Southside time. That's super cool. I'm jealous, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're. I mean, maybe they would be ready to be an instructor. I don't know, but I think it was written for that reason. It's like it's got to be more than 1,000 feet for 300 or 400, whatever it is.
Yeah.
More than a mile apart, so you can't go like north side, south side because they're like 100 yards apart or whatever, quarter mile apart maybe. Um, it's interesting, right? But yeah, the fact that like, I mean, dude, like the barrier to entry is nothing. You go on Marketplace, bro. You can find anything you want for the most part
Yeah.
on there. And most of the time people will sell you stuff. Like I have a 6 meter R3. Not flying that thing, dude. Like not flying it. But I got it because in my head, I'm like, well, okay, I broke my leg, I blew out all the ligaments in my ankle. I'm gonna want to be kiting before I'm ready to fly. And I don't want to get plucked or drug around with a bigger wing. So if I get a 6 meter, I can go out on a stronger day because that's what it takes to kite a 6 meter. It's got to be like Nuketown, because literally, dude, is the smallest thing I've ever seen in my life in terms of like a parachute. Like it looks ridiculous. I mean, because it's still like the aspect ratio is still pretty big. It's an R3. It's just smaller, So it looks like a trick kite, if you've seen those, like kind of, but like
Yeah.
more, but like higher aspect ratio. Super cool. It's hilarious, dude. It's so easy to handle. It's like I took it out when I was barely walking, and I like pulled it up, and it was at this like paragliding play site, like kind of on the Columbia, like towards Hood River. And there's a bunch of paraglide dudes there. There's a bunch of old time, hang glide folks, and they're looking at me, and they don't know, that I'm like, I'm sure they can see me limping, right? But they're not like paying that close of attention, I guess. And I kited for like 20 minutes or whatever. And I'm just like playing around with this like bed sheet, and I like ball it up, and it's like the size of a bowling ball, when you like run your hands down the lines and you
Yeah.
just have it, it's like so small. I'm like, man, this is great. Like it's just easy to handle. And I like walk past these dudes, hobble past these dudes literally, and they're like, "Oh, you're not gonna fly?" And I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is a
Did you not see how small that thing was?
dude, and I'm like, do you not know where we are, right? Because it's like a turf, it's like a triple wide turf tee launch, so it's huge. It's like it looks like half a soccer field, but it's like flat, and then it just drops off to like it kind of rolls, and then it drops a cliff. It's like 20 feet to a road, and then it's not like it's basically like a soaring site for hang gliders. That's I guess the original
Yeah.
purpose of that being built. So I'm like, they're either messing with me or they just have no concept of what speed flying actually is. And the fact that like I'm not flying a 6 meter off of this or anything else, I might speed ride with it in the spring, but with the intention of not leaving the ground. Because I mean, you have to be
It'll be
going.
hard to.
Honestly, I mean, I'm maybe not as hard on skis, but it's a spicy little thing. It's cool, but it almost looks like a replica of an R3.
One thing I wanted to talk about, and this kind of brings it up, is why didn't you get a single surface wing to kite? That's what you should have
Well,
got. It'd been really easy, really fun.
it should have. Good deal. I mean, I bought it on Marketplace from a dude in Oz that was really cool, but it was like super cheap. I mean, it had like 30, maybe 30 flights on it. It was like brand new, you know. But then of course customs inspected it in LA and punched a hole. Like I'm assuming they opened it with a knife and they put like a 3-inch like slash in like the center cell right off the leading edge. So thankfully it didn't get into like the
Mm,
critical material, but yeah, couple patches, it was fine, but it was like such a bummer. I'm like, dude, but it was like he basically gave it to me. I mean, it was like dirt cheap, so that's why I had a 13-meter line that's super easy to kite. But even with that, I was like, I don't want to get drug around, because I was like barely
yeah.
walking. Um, it was before, so I put a little like reel up of me kiting the line at that same spot, and I was like hobbling when I was doing it. It's like pretty short, so unless you're really paying attention, it's hard to tell. That was like 2 weeks after I was kiting the 6 meter. So I was like legit had no business doing it. I mean, it, it was questionable, but I was hungry for it,
Uh,
and it had already been like freaking 3 or 4 months. So I was, I was pretty ready. Just my leg wasn't. Um, it's actually been 5 months today since my surgery, and I ran 6 miles the other day straight, which was cool. I was pretty.
oh wow, congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, it was kind of a big moment. And it didn't totally suck, which was nice. I mean, my lungs weren't stoked, but my leg was good. Or my ankle. My leg's been fine for months. It's my ankle was the problem. That was the culprit. Um, dude, I'm sorry. I just went down like a huge rabbit hole. My whole point in saying that BS about the 6 meter is that the barrier to entry into speed flying is so minimal. Like you can just go buy the stuff and throw yourself off of a mountain. And the problem is that the people that do that are us, like I did that. Like I'm always like, oh,
Yeah,
get proper instruction and stuff. And I did eventually, but at first, like, no, dude, like I was on the beach kiting. So I have, whatever. I had like a bunch of time kiting on the beach in Hawaii. But then I went to Southside Point of the Mountain on my way to Washington from Arizona, picking up my truck from my mom's house. And I just threw myself off Southside. And it was fine. I mean, I had canopy experience. I'd been skydiving for a while. I was flying smaller canopies. It felt like a boat to me, because it was a 15-meter Spitfire. It's kind of a boat. It looks like a base canopy actually when it's flying, which is kind of funny. Um, but yeah, so I can say all that stuff. Like, yeah, definitely get the right, don't be the guy that does that. But then I'm like, wait a second, I did that, So it's,
yeah. I mean, there's a kid up here that I know that somebody sold him like a 12-meter phaser, and he was 16 years old, 17 years old, and he had never flown anything before. First thing he does is goes up to Flat Top, which Flat Top is, it's just our like the most popular hiking spot in Anchorage. So it's like your easiest access to mountains. So he just goes, oh well, let's just go up to the hills. Somehow he shows me the video. Somehow gets it off the hill. Says, "Oh my God, I'm flying!" Because he's flying for the first time. Buries a brake, dives it into the ground, gets stuck,
no. Oh no.
blows it up,
Oh,
and
did he survive that?
he survived and went and got his P2, and now he's out there with us. And
Nice.
but yeah, people like that are nuts. But I was that guy too. I mean, I bought my first Speedwing was a 15-meter Mirage, Mirage 2, and I had already had my P2 and everything. I bought it from my instructor, but um, I just kind of went out on my own though because he didn't really have the time to hang out with me, and plus I was trying to get at it every day. It's not uncommon to fly 5 days a week here. It's Alaska. We get some Alaska weather, of course. I think my record is 18 days in a row. But
That's amazing.
yeah, I just went out and got after it. Same thing like you did. Uh, we kind of to be a good pilot or to be somebody like us, you have a brain that analyzes well. We see these videos, we see our own flying, we watch our own videos of our own flying later. It's always in the back of your mind. Like you can't even do the dishes without thinking about the the new R3X and what colors you want. Like
Oh man,
it's just
dude.
always there in the back of your mind.
Yeah,
I want that new black Odin. Anyways, another, but
yeah.
you know,
Nothing's sick.
so
Yeah.
those kind of people that we might be the perfect people to teach ourselves, but we shouldn't. We never should. We should always try to get mentorship. And if I had more mentorship, I wouldn't have gone in like I did. I wouldn't have this pretty face tattoo that the girls like, you know. And then, that being said, you need to recognize, a lot of people are not just going to straight up ask you for mentorship. You got to be like, you got to recognize that, oh, this guy that just showed up, that just got his P2 at Point of the Mountain in 2 weeks and is coming up here to Alaska, where there is nothing like the Point of the Mountain here. You're probably going to have to take him under your wing and hang out with him for a while. You got to be the kind of person who is going to let people into your heart like that also. And that's
Yeah.
part of growing the community.
Agreed. And it is a
And
big responsibility. So it's not everybody is keen on it, and I get that. I mean, yeah. But as more seasoned pilots, it is kind of our responsibility. And it's not gatekeeping so much. And but there is a lot of that though, not as aggressively as skydiving, it seems like. But skydiving's got a lot more like federal rules and regulations that are involved
Yeah.
with it just naturally. So it's a little different. But you know, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. You know, if you're selling a wing on Facebook, like, do you need references? Like, do you, okay, like, okay, so you're selling a, hypothetically, not you, just proverbially, you're selling a wing on Facebook, and somebody reaches out and they're like, they say all the right things because they're smart and they pay attention and they listen to this podcast and they listen to Alex and they watch whatever videos and they say the right stuff. Is it really on the person selling it? It's, you know, like,
No,
it can't be, right? Because who has time to vet someone reaching out from anywhere in the world, you know, to buy a wing? It's like you don't, but then again, it, you know, I
you got to
mean,
let people make their own decisions also.
yeah,
I mean, I have a buddy who, bless his heart, he just went down to Point of the Mountain. I call them weekend P2s. They go down to the point, they get their P2 on a weekend. This guy didn't even get his P2. And, you know, he's been my friend forever. And I'm sure he'll hear this and rip me out later. But
sorry, friend.
he bought a 21-meter ultralight as his first swing. Horrible idea. I
Spicy.
told him, you know, get a full size paraglider, do this and that. He spent 10 days at the Point of the Mountain, and now he wants to go out flying. It's like now I'm in a moral spot where I have a friend. He's like my brother. He has all the gear. He's going to go out if I go out with him or not. The right move is to go with him and try to
Right.
keep him alive. The right move is to kick his ass and tell him to finish your P2. But that's just not reality. You know, that the reality is he's got his gear. He's going to go to the mountains and he's going to try. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of us who just, hey, there's a nice 13-meter for sale. You tell your buddy who wants to get into it, hey, this is the wing you should get, and he gets it. Well, if your friend's already got the gear in the mental idea that they're going to do it, you might want to try to help them out a little bit, you know, just to.
Yeah.
But it is like I'm in a weird moral spot like that right now, where I have a buddy who tried to get his P2 in 10 days, didn't really get it done, and is going to come into town for Thanksgiving here next week and wants to go out. I'm like, well, we're going to do a lot of kiting and you're going to be disappointed because we're probably not going to make it off the ground. You know, at least we should.
Man, it's so tough, right? Because a lot of this stuff is like lowest common denominator is the metric that is used, you know, but not
Yeah.
everybody is the lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator is that, you know, they're by themselves on an island. They are the bookend of the spectrum, you know, and no, there's no
Yeah.
shame in that, you know. I saw it a lot in skydiving. I saw it a lot in the military. It's bureaucracy at its finest, you know. It's like we do things a certain way because of this. It's like, okay, but not every speed pilot, not everybody that's getting into speed flying or paragliding or whatever is that. So to tailor it to,
Yeah.
and that's why like instruction is so important because it's like, you know, you come out to Todd's, you know, to Air Sports Chelan. You're and I've seen it firsthand. And I was one of these guys. It's like you have experience, you've never done this before, but let me draw a line for you to connect the dots so that you understand the similarities and differences. And then we're going to go fly and I'm going to keep teaching you this and continue down that path versus day 0 where you're sitting in a ground school for 8 hours, you know, with Josh, which is a great course. I've sat through it for part of it at least. On day 0 kind of people, day 1, whatever, um, you know, students, and it's wonderful. But if I was coming from already having a background in it, is it necessary? Honestly, like I totally would have, if Todd or Josh or whatever would have been like, hey, you have to do this like ground school day. Now to I'm not trying to get Todd in trouble. I did do a ground school. It was just online. It wasn't, and it was through him. It wasn't like it's not like I showed up and they threw me off of Airport Ridge. It was, I did have some prep work going into it. Um, it was kind of like a P2 if I remember correctly, it was semi tailored to speed flying, but mostly from the paragliding curriculum. And it was helpful. I mean, it was cool. Learned a lot, or relearned some stuff too about weather and all that. But anyway, it it's hard, right? Because like I know that Carl and Todd and all these other guys are like trying to build this curriculum to be better for speed flying, but at the end of the day, it's lowest common denominator. So if you go to Point of the Mountain to speedfly.com, or if you go to Air Sports Chelan, or you go to wherever else it's being taught right now, there's not too many others. I think there's one in California, maybe Northern California. I forget the site. I forget what the company is called, but you know, they're probably going to tailor it to you, right? So versus trying to learn it
Yeah.
yourself and trying to connect the dots, it's really hard. It's hard. And like you said, guys like us and gals that are like us, like we're super analytical. We pay attention. We're not dumb. We're making good decisions within our own knowledge, and it is easy to fall into the trap of being like, I'm just going to figure it out. And I go back and look at videos of me, flying before I got instruction and flying after, just the launch, let's just talk about that. Like it's night and day different. It same outcome most of the time, except for the one I slid on my ass into the almost into the fence, right? Like most of the time, same outcome, but the fundamental techniques were not performed because I didn't know them. Because I wasn't. You ever
Yeah.
notice, dude? This drove me freaking crazy, dude. Have you ever noticed on the reels they never show? Most people never show the launch and the landing. That like pissed me off. I literally reached out to people and was like, what did the launch and landing look like? Can you just send me the clip of that? Because I just want to see, like, I messaged Roland Ronan from Utah before I had him on the
Super
show.
rad.
Oh, dude, that dude
Super
ripped.
rad, dude.
He's also like incredibly friendly. Like I love him. He's awesome. I can't wait to get down there and fly with those guys. Him especially, but I was like, dude, that it didn't look like you had anywhere to land after you just did like 800 barrel rolls down, that secret place you were flying. Can you just send me like, I won't put anywhere. I just want to see, like what the landing was like. And he did. And I was like, that's super rad. Like, I remember when I was first learning and I was trying to seek this information, right? I was studying film basically. And, there was just not a whole lot, there wasn't, the Pro Speedfly folks hadn't put out their launching videos yet. Like, I just wanted to see
Yeah.
what it was supposed to look like. And it didn't exist. Like, it was not out there. And it drove me nuts. I was like, why not? But that's not what people want to see. Like, they want to see that's not what gets the eyeballs. It's the roll after roll after
Yeah.
roll, So I
What I've
digress.
learned with my Instagram is think about how many people speed fly and how many views some of the videos get. The percentage of people who know what they're looking at is pretty low. And
Oh yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're like trying to get Instagram videos to like produce views, which that is, I don't care about that. You got to really grab them in the first couple seconds. ADD's killed everybody's mind. But
Yeah. And
yeah, seeing what the launch and the takeoff is actually like is, and another video you made is not speeding up your videos because, there's people like you and I who are trying to learn off of this, off of any means we can, right? So you're going to scour the ends of the earth for this information, and that's all you're going to get is what you can get. And people who do things like don't show the launch and takeoff, I mean, well, it might be not exciting to watch for everybody, but for us, it's cool to show people that, you know, um, because another thing too is like you'll see if somebody flying a video and you're like, oh, I'm going to go there and do it. Well, you don't know what launch or whatever they did.
yeah.
But
No beta. I mean, that's part of the fun sometimes, but like I said earlier, not my jam. I mean, exploratory flying's cool,
yeah,
but I want to know. Like, I would rather
that
know for sure the line and what
that
it's like to launch there, whatever, where the LZ is, how it is, than guess, because that shit scares me for sure.
yeah, it might scare you now. This is another topic I wanted to bring up, but like, there's no shame in leaving something in your paragliding career to pursue later. Like right now, you might be all about numbers, and I can tell just by talking to you, you're a guy who you want to master. You want to be the ninja of whatever canopy you're under. And maybe exploring new sites and doing big mountain stuff will excite you later. There's no shame in um, tailoring your flying to one avenue to learn something, but knowing in the back of your head, hey, I want to do this later in my career. Like I know I'm going to get back on high performance paragliders and go cross country later in my career. We can't be um, barreling into the ground forever. And it's kind of like surfing too, where it's going to get boring. They got different boards for a reason. We got different wings for as different tools to handle the wind, but also for different experiences. Like you can leave that for your career later, where I'm going to go do all these big, gnarly first descents later in my career, but you want to focus on maybe your first barrel roll now. There's nothing wrong with that. That is probably the way to do it, honestly. Like, don't burn yourself out
Right.
just trying to roll close to the ground and learning those things.
Yeah, there's no
And
rush.
there's nothing wrong with leaving a mountain 20 miles or 20 minutes from your house and not doing it till later, and and things like that. Like you said, there's no reason to rush. I think we've all made the decision, and everybody who's listening to this, we've made the decision. We're gonna fly for the rest of our lives. It's not like well, I'm gonna fly for a couple of years and then stop. No, you're in it for the long game. You can leave things to do later.
Yeah. No, dude, that's so true. Yeah, I was trying to explain this to my girlfriend recently, and it was like, it's not a hobby.
No,
It's not like, I don't know. I don't even know what to compare it to, because I mean, you touched on it. We knew that we were going to be flying before we knew we were going to be flying. Like I look back at my childhood and I'm like, yeah, I was going down this path for sure. I mean, it was inevitable, whether I knew it or not. And I didn't know it. I mean, I really didn't. It didn't seem like something that was achievable. Like my parents were both skydivers. My dad was
oh,
really,
cool.
really was a skydiver. My mom, had, I don't know, she might have done like 100 jumps, and then her last jump, she was pregnant with me before she knew it. And my mom has some
That is so
freaking
rad.
hilarious stories, and she used to tell them to me when I was a kid, and I just thought they were funny. But then when I started skydiving and doing like these sports, I'm like, man, you're lucky you're alive. Like, good lord. Like she tells a story where she like was basically bouncing on her ass down the runway and like ripped her pants like when she was landing, so she just not a great canopy pilot. Another story, she landed in somebody's backyard, like way off the drop zone, and I'm just like, and she'd be like, yeah, I would just like, she's like, I loved the parachute ride. And I was like, you mean when you were flying the parachute, like were you tandem or what are you talking about? And she's like, no, like, and this was back when like rip cords were a thing, pilot chutes hadn't been, at least POCs, which whatever, they hadn't been invented yet. And she's like, yeah, I always used to throw the ripcord away, so every time I'd have to pay like an extra $30, and then I'd get under the canopy and I would just be like looking around and not really paying attention, and then all of a sudden I realized I had to land, and then I ended up in somebody's backyard, and I'm like, Mom, like, come on.
What?
Like, so she's got some funny stories. So her career was a lot shorter, but my dad like jumped with the Golden Knights. He was in the Army, and yeah,
Oh,
he was
oh
like
wow.
full on skydiver for a long time. He stopped because his knees were bad. He's had two knee replacements, and he's a badass still in his own right, doing other things. But yeah, his career eventually ended too. But it I guess I kind of knew that I was going down that path. It just, like I said, it seemed unattainable, because it was during a time when it wasn't as like widely seen. Like YouTube wasn't a thing. Instagram certainly wasn't a thing. Facebook wasn't a thing. Like there was no social media. I had a flip phone, in high school. I mean, we're not that old, but we're old enough to where like I remember the '90s. Like it's amazing,
I was born in the 1900s.
Yes, we're old as dirt, man. Oh, it's so funny, dude. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so 21-year-olds are born in when? Like it's just like, God damn it. But you know, that is the beauty of life is you get to kind of get older and wiser if you're fortunate enough, you know. And yeah, I mean, I coined this from Shane McConkey, who was my idol as a kid, and I side note to this, I've never been more devastated by a loss from someone that I didn't know personally than I was when he unfortunately went in. And he was like my idol. But he was quoted by saying, you know, he would always tell his wife, Sheila, I believe, I'm don't worry, babe, I'm not gonna die. Um, I'm gonna die in simultaneous orgasm at 80, you know, with you.
Oh yeah,
And I love that, you know,
yeah,
and I've 100% used that in the past with my girlfriend, you know, because I'm like, that's the goal, you know? Like, I don't wanna die
yeah. That's
flying.
the
Like, how much of a bummer
no.
would that be, dude? Like, and I know it's so sad, man, because it's been a rough
It's been
freaking summer, man.
a rough year. Um, when you when you've been around and you've been there for a fatal accident, it completely changes your whole entire life. I've never been, I wouldn't say depressed. Well, first of all, I was at, I witnessed a fatal accident in my flying career. And uh, what happened was extremely well known dude, just a legend of a guy up here in Alaska. It was my first time at the site. The conditions were absolutely not good for speed flying. It was a booming cross country thermaling day, and there was all sorts of signs to not cut in close that day. It was blowing like up to 15, 20 miles an hour, but usually right around 10. There was a small little bird that took off. It was flying right in front of launch and just went skyrocketed up a thermal right off a launch. Um, Not a lot of speed wing guys would pick up on that. That's I'm really big on being a full wing guy also. Um, so I took off first, and I just got rocked by some hard valley wind, and I was flying a 13-meter Mirage, which is what I fly now. Um, uh, we'll talk about wing loading later. I'm a big heavy guy, and I get some things done with it. But uh, I had a wingtip go out on it. That's how gnarly the wind was. And I made it down to the ground safely. And I turned around and I was like 2 miles probably from the summit. So I'm watching this unfold from like 2 miles. And the guy pulls like a barrel roll immediately. And it was all right, all red, the berry color, blue and red Mirage. You know, I'm sure you've seen that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And I see him do a barrel roll, and then it just goes white, and he goes for like a 1,500 foot in distance, 1,000 foot in distance, basically free fall. I think what happened was he tried to do a barrel roll and clip the edge of a cliff. He was trying to dive,
Mm,
um, but it's hard to say. You know, I was so far away. But you know, to fly off and to turn around and to see that and call the friends up top and organize rescue and that stuff will change your life forever. And what happened to me the most was it confused me. It confused me of like, what would it take for us to stop doing this sport? You know what I mean? Like you broke your leg. I had already completely messed myself up a couple times. I just watched somebody go in, and and all I want is to go out flying tomorrow to get back on the horse.
right.
And that took me a while to deal with that it's just confusion of like, why do we really do this? I mean, it's like we've been called to it our whole life. It's an amazing, beautiful thing, and we all know why we do it. But things change when you see something like that. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean nobody plans to die doing it, you know? I mean,
No,
there's signs sometimes, you know, when people are a little like out of, you know, out in front of their skis and stuff and but they get away with it for the most part, you know, and then I feel like I don't know, it's just and man, like touch wood, thankfully, and I don't even want to say it. I'm not even gonna say it, but I'm a little superstitious. So I'm just not gonna say it, but you can see where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Potentially, I cannot imagine. I can't imagine because I've experienced it in other realms, but it's just a little different, because it's like you're out there having the time of your life, man. It's super fun. That's why we do this stuff. If it wasn't fun, we wouldn't do it. If it didn't give us something, if the reward wasn't worth it, it wouldn't be worth it. But like,
Yeah.
and it's it's tough, right? Because like I'm scared of my own shadow right now because of the injury, right? Because it wasn't that bad. Like I get it, but that's the point. Like I didn't
Yeah. I
when I
watched your
launched.
your
Oh yeah,
accident. It was
yeah.
like funny.
It's like ridiculous, right? And here I am, like, I'm
Yeah.
not a freaking pussy. Like, this shit hurt, man, and it hurt for months. Like, it still hurts,
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, man, and it was so minor. I mean, like, appearing minor, right? I mean, it wasn't, but like, it appears to be minor. But it's like when I launched, dude, I wasn't. That was going to be my last flight of the day. It should have been my last flight of the day. Should have been 3 hours earlier, right? It was just dumb. I know better, right? But I just went for it because it's Airport Ridge, man. It's chill. It's the McDonald's ball pit of a place to fly around
Yeah.
here, right? Which is so not true. There's no such thing as that. But that's where my head was at. So if I I think something that I have gained of the multitude of things I have gained from these activities is um, the relationships that are formed are as good, if not better, than anywhere else you can imagine. And there, I'm just not bothered by things after I fly, like little things. Like I'm just not because it's like you've danced, you have, yeah. Not to be too dramatic, but you've danced with death. You have entered a realm that you're not really technically supposed to be in as a human, and you came out the other end valiantly. And there's something to that, and it's so dramatic when I put it that way. But like, think about it.
No, it's a primal part of us, back before we invented all these cool toys to get our kicks off of, we were pillaging and, taking over the world and stuff. And
Right,
cheating death, uh, how else is it supposed to be? I mean,
right.
in a weird way.
I no,
Uh,
I agree, and I mean, of course, like I'm not like thinking that when I'm hooked up to my wing,
yeah.
sitting on a launch. Like I'm not like, oh, like I don't know how this is gonna go. That's actually try to avoid that. But realizing that things happen whether you want them to or not, and sometimes it's completely out of your control. Like I was listening to Cloud Based Mayhem yesterday with this new episode. Forget the guy's name. I think he's a German um, alpinist, like professional, like badass dude. Started paragliding, and he was telling a story how one of his friends died in a paragliding accident. One of his best friend died, and he was talking to one of his mentors or something afterward, and he was like, it your wing could betray you. Like you can do everything right, and you could still lose because there are certain things that are just completely out of your control. Right. And it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
so does that mean we don't fly? No. Like you could I got T-boned in Arizona in like 2018 sitting in the passenger seat of my ex-wife's car. I have a 2020 divorce story for you. Maybe for offline, I don't know, but um, we have this in
COVID
common.
divorce.
No kids. Thank God you got me there. But and I don't mean thank God, like thank God no kids. I mean, it just I can only imagine how much that complicates things. So but anyway, I was sitting in the passenger seat and my ex was driving through a green light, because it was green. And this dude he was drunk or high, I don't know, stole like a 1990s Suburban. So like the big steel ones with like the barn doors, like the square, like they're like ugly and kind of menacing looking. Like it's like the devil's, freaking rig. Blew through a red light and T-boned us like right on my door. and I just had like a lack on my arm. Like I was fine, concussion, whatever, added to the list, but of concussions. But that wasn't me. I didn't make a mistake. I wasn't driving. She didn't run a red light, you know, that dude was just an asshole and, had
Yeah.
something going on, right? Who knows? But my
Yeah,
point,
you were playing in the arena of the roadway where it can
right.
happen.
It can happen anywhere, like there are things that are out of our control everywhere. So does that mean that we don't do stuff? No. If you were worried about chance or probability of being deceased, you wouldn't leave your house. You wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
Like you'd eat like smoothies because you could choke and die if you had a piece of steak. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not like a good. It. I'm trying to keep this all in perspective because it's like, yes, it's dangerous, but so is life. Like
Yeah.
everything freaking wants to kill you. I go on these hikes and around where I
Yeah.
live in the summer, dude. I see like 8 rattlesnakes. Just walk around them. If that thing bit me, like could die, dude. I don't know. I've never been bit by a rattlesnake. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm super allergic. It's just like it isn't like a way to live your life, like don't live in fear, but please, for the love of God, have knowledge so you don't kill yourself with something that was in your control. You just didn't realize was in your control.
Now, you say that, but how many speedwing guys do you know that don't have a paragliding career?
I mean, I'm one of them.
Yeah, think about that. That honestly, that freaks me out about if I could change anything, I would I am totally against regulation. I am against authority rules. I love the lack of rules. I'm not really a big fan of USHPA. Uh, but if I was going to go down that route, I would say people need at least a P2 before they even touch a speedway. I would really say
It makes
you
sense.
should be the kind of pilot on a full size wing where you know exactly where to find thermals, you know where to find sync, you know how to ridge soar very well, and you know the full capabilities of how to read those conditions and weather forecasting. Because if you don't have all of those, like if you don't know exactly what terrain is going to produce a thermal and you're going to speed fly over it because it's the fun route and it's the line you're going to go for, that's not good. Like that day where I was talking about my fatal the accident, the amount of red flags screaming from a paraglider's perspective was insane. And I knew all that and I knew to cut really far away. And I still got a collapse on a 13-meter wing, loaded to almost 2 pounds.
Yeah,
That's
on a
it
Mirage,
might be
which is
it might be a
crazy.
big wing, but
Not really.
it's flying some weight. But yeah, I think that if you don't uh, at least pursue a paragliding career for a little bit, you are doing yourself a disservice. Um, not trying to like poke the bear at anybody. I'm just from a knowledge standpoint alone of, uh, do you know, have you ever gone thermal hunting? You know what I mean? If you go hunting for a thermal and you find it and you start getting that basis of starting to read the terrain to know what's going to produce lift and stuff. What that means in the speed flying world is you know where the air is going to be the smoothest. You
Hmm.
know where the air is not going to rock you. You know where there's not, to avoid that sink over that cold mass over the lake.
Right.
You know those things. And if you're just only focused on the line and just ripping, that's really dangerous, I think. And I think that's probably our biggest crutch in the speed flying community is that they don't know the arena they're playing in fully if you don't know how to fly a big wing efficiently. Like you said, you were just doing what you were doing. You got hit by a car. You were in the arena of the roadway. We're in the arena of air, and uh, if you don't know everything about it, just think about how that sounds. You know, um,
That I mean, I
like
I agree. That's a very
like with my yeah.
go on.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I quit
Like
cutting you off.
like what I was saying with my near miss that I had earlier in the conversation where I cut it in super close. I'll have to send you that video. Um,
Please, yeah, I'd love
why
to
did
see it.
that happen? That happened because it was going catabatic and I flew down into a notch and the air was going downhill and compressing and getting stronger where I had just cut it down into the valley. So the air is going this way, compressing downward. Would I know that if I didn't fly big wings? Absolutely not.
Right.
I would not.
So, and I do this and I shouldn't, right? Because I'm not a base jumper. But when you look at base jumping to skydiving, one of the major requirements when you go to a course at in Twin Falls at the Perrine Bridge is you have to have a minimum of 200 skydives. Okay, it's like, well, why? Because there's no governing body of base. Now we have a governing body because we were adopted, I guess. USPA, they're working on it, right? I respect it, right? I get it, but um, why not be like, hey, cool, you want to speed fly? You want to do it the right way? Right on. You're gonna paraglide first. And had that been told to me, and I'm not blaming anybody because it's not the case, but had that been told to me, had that been the case when I was coming from skydiving, I would have paraglided. Like, not because I wanted to be a paraglide pilot necessarily, but because I wanted to speed fly, and that's what I had to do to get there. You want a base? Cool. Go get your A license. Go get 200 jumps, which is not a lot of jumps. So, like I said, there's a spectrum, right? maybe not, maybe like 500 jumps, whatever. But um, there's a lot more internal gatekeeping in base jumping because there's less places to do it, so there's more protection. There's more like internal protection of the sport because you can't just go out to the hill at the park and throw yourself off of it. You got to like go to a you have to either do illegal shit or you have to go somewhere where it's legal, but it's finite of, like if you screw up, you could screw it up for everybody. So don't screw up, so that it's different in that, the medium is a little bit different. And I fully understand that. But I mean, I agree. If we're going down the regulation road, which it seems like we are, maybe you do. And dude, Europe, a lot of places you have to have a paraglide license to speed fly there. Like I think Kronplatz, you have to have at least a P2 to just fly there, even with a speed wing.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It might not be there, but I've heard like there are places where you have to have it. So why not just go down that road?
Did you know we have a resort up here
So you mentioned
that lets us fly?
You mentioned this, and I really, man, there's so many things. I don't care, dude. I got freaking until like 2, so we got time. But
yeah, me too. Whatever.
So yeah, whatever. People will be stoked for a longer one, I think. Or maybe it's just me that enjoys long ass podcasts. But okay? So Alaska, dude. I did not realize.
Sorry, I really threw a wrench.
No, it's
really threw a wrench in there.
I was trying to go this way because I have questions. Okay, first of all, I did not realize how many shredders there are in Alaska. It's like absurd,
dude.
It's absurd. You guys,
that's one of my notes.
You're
that's one of my notes.
By all means, dive into it because wow.
Think about this, right? Think about your mountain town you're at. It's the raddest place you know. It's this little bohemian place that feels awesome to you. There's rad people that you know there. Now, and you travel to that place, right? Think about how many people are like, well, I'm going to move to Alaska. I'm going to fucking get it. I'm going to go to Alaska. Alaska is full of rippers to the gills. No matter what sport activity it is, you won't be humbled as hard as anywhere else. Like, there's people who, the mountain flat top. I love flat top. There's people who run that thing like one time every day or go down the ridge and back every day. I mean, how many places do you know where people are hiking a 3,000-foot mountain where there's like 5'3" of rock climbing on the top every day? And that's considered your chill, easy place where you take your grandma. Like Alaska is just rippers everywhere in every facet, in every sport. Being on this podcast compared to some of the people who are up here in the state is like doing a disservice. You're going to have to get Lesha on here. You need Chris French on here. So many rad, just rippers. That being said, it's not pointing the mountain here either. There's like one spot that I would probably consider easy, like pointing the mountain for flying and learning. It's not really the best place to learn. We do learn and teach people here though, but it's Alaska. It's full on. We have a lot of variety in the types of runs that we have. And really, we just have a lot of access to. We got a lot of trails. The tree line is low. It is the opposite of Washington trees.
Thank
Basically,
God.
anything above 1,500 feet is bare. Um,
Wow, that's cool.
yeah, that I have some buddies from Washington that just moved up, and that they are just frothing that there's no trees blocking half of the mountains that look tasty. Um, there's a lot of established places to fly here, a lot of good speed sites. One of my favorites is a place called Switchbacks. If you want to look it up on the internet, it's called Mile High Saddle. You drive up half of it, you hike for like half an hour, and it's about just over 3,000 feet. You land in this huge road, and you run laps all day. One of the local legends lands in a mini trampoline in his front yard that he has dug into the ground right there from that site. What
Wow.
else about Alaska? Man, it's just the people are amazing. It's the biggest mountain town. The whole state is a mountain town. No shortage. You could fly a new epic line once a week for the rest of your life. You know,
And not even
Scotty, not even touch it. You're a skier guy. You know what it means when you go up on the ridge line. You just look out. It's Alaska. All the ski things are true. Um, Yeah, it's
oh
a
yeah.
wonderful place. I moved to Alaska when I was 18 and never left, and it was the best thing I ever did for myself. And I suggest every young 17-year-old kid out there listening to run away from your parents and move to Alaska and don't go back.
Yeah, it is a rugged place for sure. I've been, skiing since I was 3. I'm 33, so that's 30 years. And I have been watching like springtime ski clips in, you know, VHS tapes all the way to Instagram now. The whole gambit of, technology improving and whatnot, but it it just seems like the Super Bowl of everything. I mean, you've got huge mountains that are like 55 degrees steep from top to bottom with freaking, bergschrunds and crevasses and crazy snow that sticks to walls. It just doesn't make any
Hmm.
sense, and then,
That's the best part. We got
right,
that stable snow, and
the
we get
maritime
all these
snowpack.
friends that move up here, and they're like, "What about your slab issues?" I'm like, "It didn't rain in November this year. We're good." You know,
You might get some sloughing on the 55-degree, spine line,
but
but
yeah,
you're
and all
probably,
the places you go are so close to the ocean too that it's just we got good snow. We
yeah.
got it. All the things are true. All the things are true.
People complain about maritime snowpacks, but coming from my perspective, I it's amazing how much people get away with stuff in Washington State versus Utah. Like, so I patrolled in Utah 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You look at something wrong and it would go. Like, I have some crazy avalanche control work stories from that place because it is the real deal there. Like in Colorado too, like the intercontinental snowpack is so unstable, but man, produces some very, very light powder, which is really fun. If you enjoy getting face shots, is awesome. Maritime snowpack's very different. It consolidates. It's normally on the heavier end, but man, I've had some amazing pow days here too. Just in last season, like I couldn't believe how good it was. But it's so funny because coming from Utah, people were always like, oh, like the Sierra cement you hear a lot. I don't which is more of a maritime. I don't know what they are, but it is a denser quality snow. It's just heavier. Same thing in Washington, same thing in Alaska. But it's not a bad thing. It just means it's more stable. It means you can ski 50+ degree stuff if you want, and it's not just going to rip out, or it's actually just going to hold snow like that. That's the crazy part. um I digress. We're talking about skiing now for some reason, but it's just always intrigued
Skiing's
me.
rad.
Skiing is super fun. Snowboarding's cool too. um
Yeah, but
I-
ski resort. So we have one resort up here that allows us to fly, and it was, uh, they say that it was one of the first ski resorts in America to have anybody fly a paraglider off. There's people coming in from the 80s to fly off
no way.
this site. It's called Arctic Valley. We got about right around 1,000 foot relief. It's a smaller local hill. Um, we got a T-bar and two chairs, and they let us speed fly there. And
In the
it
winter.
is, yes, there's no regulation too about that. We have rules. The rule you can't fly next to the lift, no barrel rolls, but nothing like you got to be off the deck. You can be on the deck all you want or fly right over top of it. There's no altitude restriction there, which I think is the best thing we got going for us. It is some smaller runs, but you could get 20, 30 laps in.
A day.
It's a
That's
T-bar
amazing.
too, so you just hop on the T-bar and you're just zipping. You are stuffing that thing in the quick sack, and you talk about zonked at the end of the day. If you're riding the T-bar up, you're not sitting down unless you're flying, and if you're not really resting when you're flying,
No. Yeah.
but we had figured out the insurance stuff, and I suggest everybody listening here uh, talk to the people at Arctic Valley about your insurance questions, because we had a lawyer get involved, help us out heavily. Um, we could talk for hours on the insurance side, but you know, it being Alaska, we have a small population of people. Uh, we probably have 50 paragliding pilots in the state total, speedwing and full size, maybe a little bit more, but the community's tight. They're not. We just don't let anybody go fly there. You got to be S2 certified in your ski ratings, and you got to get kind of signed off by one of the local guys. Um, that being said, all you listeners, I don't assume there's going to be a line of people down at Arctic Valley this winter trying to go. I mean, we will totally help you guys come in and check it out. But
Dude, I'm taking some time off, and when's the best time to come? Like April,
in the
like late
spring when
season?
we have the most light.
So
Um,
like you're talking like April or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Well, I'm gonna book
somewhere
a
like
trip.
that.
I'm gonna drive up there in April, man, for sure. That's
Hell
it's
yeah,
always like I gotta go to France, like I gotta drop all this money to go to Europe and go scare myself to just, you know, basically just do 30 laps a day. I'm just gonna go to
yeah.
Alaska, man. That's sick. What can you spell
It,
the name for me? How do you spell? I just wrote it down, but I think I
it's,
misspelled it.
it's Arctic Valley, just
Oh, just Arctic.
regular. Yeah,
And is that outside of Anchorage?
yeah. It's in between Anchorage and Eagle River, like a 10-minute drive
Oh,
outside of the city limits. I mean, probably a little longer, like half-hour drive, but it's right there in Anchorage.
so not that there's like a million people listening to this, but I guarantee you see a bump in traffic there this
Yeah.
spring.
Uh,
It's from you
like
doing
I
that.
said, get with me and some other people
Oh, of
from the
course,
local
of
community.
course.
Sean Joy is a good guy. Um, yeah, like I said earlier in the podcast, I grew up splitboarding. I have a split board hanging up on my wall at the house. I've been a big backcountry guy forever. If paragliders flew sideways, I would never own a pair of skis, and I would continue the path of hating skiers and skiing. Um, but I started learning skiing, and so I could go at the resort. So I was one of the, basically, like I said earlier, it's a small community, not a lot of pilots, not a lot of new guys were showing up. And now we have some newer guys coming in. So that's kind of like a change to the community. Not used to having to worry about baby Jake over there who smashed his face in at Bird Ridge. Um, so I was like the newest guy out there past couple seasons. And I was terrified that I was going to ruin the only ski resort in North America. uh, I thought I was going to ruin it all for everybody. So I was very cautious when I'm learning my speed riding, and very receptive of getting spankings about messing up, because I didn't want to ruin it for anybody. This is the only place in America that we can do this. So we're kind of protective of it. You're going to have to get signed off by a local guy, and
Yeah, anybody that's gonna
it's
go
still
out
going to
there.
be an easy thing. It's still going to be an easy feat, though. We're not going to like gatekeep and turn people away. Like we're gonna be so stoked to see anybody come up to Alaska. But
Well, I mean, and
but yeah, I was so scared for so long that I was gonna ruin it for everybody.
well, it's a huge responsibility. I mean, you are, and it's like we've talked about this, right? But like you go somewhere new that's not yours, like it's not your zone, and there's something that is allowed there, like you can fly there, right? Don't be the one that screws it up. Like, don't be the
Yeah,
asshole
don't
that
burn
goes
the
there.
spot.
No, like please don't, because then you ruin it for the people that live there. That like that's their zone. Like what are they going to do? So did they don't market that, I'm assuming. Like Arctic Valley does not,
No.
they don't say anything about it on
Uh,
their website or anything cuz
this is it. This is me marketing for them.
did you do we need to call them? Like is this cool? No, that's man, that just made my day. Like you
Before
mentioned
we got our insurance figured out, while we were talking about regulation, over across the pond, you have to have your P2. Originally, we had the rules that you had to have your P3, which is kind of difficult.
pretty pretty
You got to
legit.
be a real paragliding dude to
Yeah.
get that,
Yeah.
and you had to get your mini wing too. If you looked up the rules for your mini wing too, it is insane. It's like 350 flights, two or three different wings, different site locations, all of those things. And now they switched it to having your S2, which is the right thing. But I mean, your S2, 20 some flights on a speed wing at Point of the Mountain will get you
Yeah, it's
that,
not much of a
you know?
barrier to entry. Yeah, yeah, it's easier than a P2. I would argue.
So I'm glad that we got those legal issues figured out because I went and I got my P3 and my mini wing too. And it was difficult just because we're speedwing guys. We don't track our vlog book.
Right.
At least I don't. I mean, for a little bit, I was pushing the numbers so hard and I wanted to get numbers that it was not healthy. I'm glad I quit logging, honestly, because the numbers were pushing me.
Yeah,
That's a whole nother topic.
that's an easy trap to fall into, both the rabbit hole and the numbers, and I get it. I'm glad that I'm glad that we don't have the only thing I'm going to say about the numbers thing is I'm really glad that this sport doesn't have gates at certain numbers. Because
Yeah.
you said it earlier, you like to like watch yourself fly because you study it, right? I mean, and I'm the same way. I'm very visual. I'm a visual learner. I'm a tactile guy. I like to touch stuff. I like to see things, and reading a textbook, I didn't learn it. Showed me, I got it. It's stuck there for sure. Um, with skydiving, like you cannot fly with a GoPro, like a camera, right? In general,
Really?
until you get to 200 jumps. So I was in this huge hurry to get to 200 jumps because I'm a
Hmm.
film guy. If I've got I'm a scientist in film. I have a bachelor's of science in cinematography and filmmaking or whatever. But so like I'm super into filming, and I just wanted to film with GoPro, mostly myself. Right? I wanted to see what I was doing, like study it. I'm so glad that you can put a GoPro on your helmet if you want to. Day one of speed flying. I mean, some of the schools might not let you, but um, most probably like if you're like, oh, I'm trying to get a rad clip for my TikTok, probably maybe not. But if you're like, hey, I want to
Yeah.
study this, different story. It's type of person, right? Like we've been talking about all morning here. It's like different people can do different things because it's a spectrum, right? So I digress on that, but um, I'm just glad that that isn't a thing because it does drive people
Yeah.
rushing to get numbers. Like I was in the biggest hurry. I didn't care what it cost. I'm getting 200 jumps so I can start filming. Um,
That's interesting.
yeah,
Um,
it's just a different world.
yeah,
Different world.
I had a GoPro and we've all heard that expression, GoPros and girlfriends on the ground have killed more people in the skydiving. I don't know if you've heard that, but
Yeah,
showing
yeah.
off and GoPros killed more people than anything. And being a part of that at that accident, it made me scared to film my own stuff. I didn't want to show off for the camera and get hurt. I had a GoPro. I bought a 9, and there was like the 12 had come out before I had started filming my stuff. Like all this stuff you see on my Instagram, it took me courage to start filming my stuff because I didn't want to get myself hurt. I didn't want to put myself in that situation, and I ended up having an old ass GoPro by the time I finally used it. But I'm glad that there's no regulation like that, first of all, and that second of all, I slowed down in that regard. And I encourage everybody out there to think if you really want to put a GoPro on and what it's going to mean. Are you going to not show off? and you just fly the way you normally would? Or are you really flying to get a video? Because if you're flying to get a video, you are going to get hurt. It might not happen the first time, not or 100th time, but eventually you're going to go in if that's all you're doing is that.
Yeah,
And
I think it's a
it's like
problem.
Patrick
Oh,
Hennessy
go on.
having the phaser for 4 years,
Yeah, I love that.
slowing himself down. I'm very thankful I didn't film anything for like 3 years. And did I get benefit out of it? You can't really measure it, but I think I did. You know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, to each their own. I respect it. You know, I think if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, or if it's a distraction, you know, like for me, I incorporated it into my pre-flight checks where there is a moment there where I reach up and click it and I hear the beep and then I continue with my pre-flight stuff. And it's not the last thing I do and it's not the first thing I do. It's working my way down. So it's like somewhere in the middle, which doesn't make sense because you'd think I'd start on the top of my head, but I don't. Um, but that's just my
It only
method.
has to make sense to you,
Exactly,
your
right?
checklist.
So it's never been a distraction for me. And also like I don't look at it as a way to like I'm not thinking I'm gonna get a clip for Instagram. If I do, if I happen to do something cool or something that I thought was cool or that inspired me or I was stoked on, that's a different story. But that's after the fact. That's when I watch it, you know, that night when I am putting stuff in my logbook. You know, I also use it to remember what I did because I think I'm the opposite of you in terms of logging things, which is hilarious. I am very meticulous about my logbook. Like if you looked at it, you would laugh because I could do like the same. Like let's say I did 10 airport ridge laps in Chelan in a day. I will literally write down moment to moment what I did and how I felt or what the wing was doing or what I thought I could do differently or just notes about the wing or about the day or about the weather, like something because something was different. Like I'm very like analytical. I digitalized it while I was hurt. It took me like a week to do that. And we're, you know, at that point I was like 400 something flights. It wasn't like a lot, but it still took some time. And since I started flying again, I think I've got like 30 or 40 since I've been back now. Um, I haven't been digitalizing it because I like to write. I just like analog stuff. I don't know. I like film cameras. So versus digital. Um, but yeah, I mean, they can be a tool and they can also be a detriment. It depends on the person. Right. And I respect that you did because I bet you there were times in that 3 years where it was difficult to not put a camera on. Like you actively made a choice. Like it was difficult for Pat to fly a Fraser for 4 years. That's a long time, you know? And I mean,
Yeah, that thing's a dog. How could you do that? How could you put
bro,
yourself through
dude,
that?
I tried
Some
to
of the times.
dude, so one of the there was a guy at Chelan a couple weeks ago that was like a ninja skydiver. He was just on um the head down world record. So like he's like a freaking ninja. Like this dude's like one of the
Oh,
best in the
wow.
world. Like, you know, and it was like 180 way or something head down. Like the video of that is ridiculous, dude. Like these guys, he told me this story. I won't dive too deep into it here. He's got a really rad YouTube channel. I will put it in the show notes. I can't remember what it's called at the moment, but um, he had a Fraser 3, I think. I think it was a Fraser 3. I could be wrong, but I was just like doing forward launches by the hangar in the grass just to see because I was watching him practice and it like the wing wouldn't come over his head. Like it was like hanging back. So I was like, I'm just curious, right? So I laid it out and I did a couple and it wouldn't come up. Like it wouldn't like sit where like our wings sit now, which is like you bring it up and it's freaking over your head. It's like perfect, right? It was not like that. So I opened the trim, which I would not launch that way ever, but I did just to see, and it barely came up over my head. I mean, they lagged so hard, dude. And I was watching this guy launch Airport Ridge, and it's steep, you know, but he launched and would like dive super hard, and it's just like it's not him. He's not doing anything wrong. It's just the wing. I'm like, and then I was thinking, I'm like, Pat spent 4 years on that, dude. I would literally go insane. I'm like that thing, but also back then we didn't have the, you know, the 3, like they're the 2RS Plus or whatever. You know, we didn't have the
Yeah.
tech we have now. The wings now are insane. Like to go full circle with that, they're
Yeah.
insanely easy to fly. I mean, it's almost a joke. You know, you could teach a monkey how to launch a speed wing right now. It's just easy, in the right conditions, obviously. But I don't know, man. We're fortunate for a lot of reasons, but you know,
Yeah.
it is a double-edged sword, as we've been talking about now. Like it'll bite you, so freaking be careful. But what are your goals? I guess going forward, what do you want to besides flying for the rest of your life? Do you have any specific goals or anything that you're looking at doing any
Um,
projects?
I would like to be an instructor one day, for sure. Kind of retirement gig, early retirement uh, project. Um, it sounds kind of silly, but right now I'm kind of trying to get sponsored with the dog flying thing. Just I didn't really take it seriously at all. This whole Instagram fame thing was pretty random. I just started posting flying with my dog. I've been a skater kid my whole life, which means you're filming and posting and you're about that life, and just just kind of blossomed into what it is today. Um, Shout out to anybody who wants to sponsor me. I'll sell your weird thing. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm doing at all. I'm just gonna continue making videos and see what happens with this weird Instagram fame, um, and just keep flying. Like I said earlier, I've left some things in the back end of my career, like uh, doing more cross country, full wing paraglider stuff. I have some new friends that just moved up here, and they are really inspirational. Lesha and Griffin from Washington. I think you know who they are. Uh, those guys are just all about pioneering new lines and just going out with them more and agreeing to go on more of their adventures. Would be like the short term goal of my flying. Just more big fun mountains and just learning more. Another thing I put in the back end of my flying career was swooping. I kind of told myself I was never going to swoop. I just wanted to take landing easy. I'm a barrel roll guy and a proximity guy. Um, I don't want to mess around with landing. At least that's where I was for a long time. I just now started trying to swoop, and oh boy, is it yeah, it's fun.
Oh, dude,
But
it's gonna hook you, man. I love it, man. I
I
love it so much.
I've been flying for 5 years, and have around or almost 800 flights. uh, Three-quarters of those are speed flights, and every single one of them I pretty much landed trimmers closed because it's like what the manual says, and I don't want to mess around with landing or whatever. And I'm kind of embarrassed to say I've just now started dumping trims and flattening them out, and it seems so intuitive and easy now that I had that big foundation of closed trimmer landings. A closed trimmer landing is regarded as being kind of rough. You can come in kind of hard, hurt your heels a little bit, but I've mastered that, and now open trimmers is just, it's fun to discover new things in your flying career this deep into it too. That's another reason why to leave some things to focus on later is keeping it fresh forever. But yeah, just swooping, big gnarly new terrain, keep flying with the dog, try to make relationships with brands, and just see where it goes. It's been so wild and crazy. When you get a video of you flying with your dog and it hits over 30 million views, and like Caitlyn Jenner is sharing your stuff, weird big celebrities like that, it's definitely interesting, and
Yeah, I can only
didn't see it
imagine.
coming.
That's I'm shocked that you don't have a sponsor. I was actually gonna ask you that early on, and then we kind of moved away from that, but from the dog stuff. But to have not a lot of people have 100,000 subscribers or followers on Instagram. Like I feel like it's a
Yeah,
hard platform to build. Like I think YouTube is easier. Like just by, I mean, I don't have any
I think
followers either, but I'm just from looking at it, right?
I think that the attention span of your average YouTube viewer is much longer. So it
Fair.
might be easier to grab attention of people who are more chilling on the couch than like if you look at like the data from these videos, it might have gotten 30 million views, but the percentage of people who watched the video for only 1 second is like 60%.
Right. They're just swiping through.
It's like you're not grabbing that many people
Sure.
actually. It's just such a weird, random, interesting avenue that life kind of opened up for me, I guess, the internet world. Pretty
Right.
weird.
Well, it's pretty cool. I mean, not that you're chasing that, not that I mean, it's interesting to hear it because I wasn't sure if you had like built that or if it happened. And it sounds like it just
It just kind of happened. Like at this point, I know what kind of video to make if I want it to get like big. Really, I just kind of when I go out flying with the dog, I'll make a no audio, a no just raw audio takeoff one. I'll do a full edit of the full flight where I get to have fun and do video editing, which is I love video editing, especially with Insta360. You get such cool stuff. I mean, shout out Insta. Come on, let's make something happen. I want to make an all green Insta360 camera for the Pickle edition. But anyways, that's a
they'll
pipe
do it.
dream.
I guarantee you they'll
People
do it.
would, I guarantee you, it'd sell. But um, I don't even know where I was going. But yeah, I make a video of us just taking off. I make a video of us just landing, and I make an edit of the whole thing. And I can pretty much assume at this point that we're gonna get millions of views in that space from one flight. But yeah, I don't give a shit. I just want to keep flying. I'm a flying bro like the rest of us. The thing I'm most excited about with the dog flying stuff is it gets more people to see speed flying.
Exactly. I was
I
going to
bet,
say that.
I bet, like, I bet I have more grandmas looking at speed flying from my Instagram than anybody else who posts videos about it. And I get DM'd constantly about how to start flying, and I respond to all of them. And I tell them where to get flying and how to get going, and um, I might not tell you where to get gear, but I'll tell you how to get going.
I love
And
that. I mean, any way that we
really,
can
yeah,
positively grow the sport and push it in a good direction and in a sustainable direction is, you know, good. I mean, that's awesome. Like, so to have that
yeah.
platform is special. So I mean,
And I just wanted to like show to the world that paragliding can be chill, you know. And that's what it is with the dog. I'm always trying to like describe the sport to other people, but you can't describe this. But I like to say it's kind of like motorcycles. Like you can go in a Fat Boy Harley and that's chill. You're going down the highway. You can still get in trouble, or you can ride a Ducati or a Yamaha. We're Yamaha guys. I'm a Yamaha guy.
oh yeah,
Um,
right.
but it can be as chill as a Sunday afternoon stroll with your grandpa on the Harley. And it's such a big sport that there's a place for everybody and every personality type within it. And like even when I was training, I was the only guy that was under the age of 50 in my paragliding course.
Wow. That's cool. I
But yeah,
mean,
there's
it
just
is a lifetime sport, especially on the P side, like the paraglide side. It's a lifetime sport. I and I think a lot of guys like Todd is doing more paraglide stuff now because he's done all the stuff. He's done all the rad shit that he should have probably died,
yeah,
20 years ago, and he somehow beat the odds and through skill and some luck for sure and whatever. And now he's getting into big wings because it's fun and it's slower and it's I mean it's still dangerous.
there's so much magic in big wings too. Like
Yeah.
when you hook your first thermal and you take off from 1,000 feet and you look at your vario and you're over 5, that's magic. Doing barrel rolls close to the ground, that's magic too. It's not like when I said earlier everybody should have to fly big wings first. It's not like that's not going to be fun the whole time. It's going to be a blast the whole time. you're learning these other avenues. You might want to direct your flying to speed flying, but you're not going to lose any value in learning to fly a big wing and catching your first thermal, or even catching your first collapse. You know, getting a bunch of collapses on a big wing, that you're gonna get some muscle memory. You're gonna figure out what you're doing if you're in those situations. Um,
Oh yeah, and a whole lot more seat time.
yeah,
Whole lot more. I mean, I was flying a 14 meter Freya yesterday, which is like a hybrid mini wing from Fluid. Love it. It's awesome. But it it was making my, 600 vertical foot flights go from like 24 seconds if I was lucky, on the 9 meter or the even the line, to like a minute and 20. And I'm not like hanging out. Like
yeah,
I'm still like doing wing overs and, I mean, it's a totally different style of flying, right? But it's not like it's boring. Like
yeah,
it's not like I have to be going 80 miles per hour, you know, to have fun. Like it's fun. The reason I don't paraglide, and I've said this, but I mean this, like I'm not just blowing smoke here. It scares the living shit out of me. Like, and that's
yeah.
why I haven't done it, because it is so intimidating. Like, have you ever been on like a hot air balloon, or
No,
have you been around them? It looking
no,
up
there's none of them
into
up here.
the fair enough. Yeah, I'm sure it's not the best terrain, but like looking up into a hot air balloon makes me cringe. Like it is like this weird eerie phobia that I have. It's kind of like being underwater for me, looking up at a boat. It's just not natural. Like it's just like a really weird feeling I get. I hate that feeling. Um, Looking up at a massive paraglider is similar. It's not as cringy to me, but it gives me this like uneasy, like I'm not in control. I'm along for the ride. I know that's not accurate, but like it kind of looks that way from me sitting below it, So I just I keep telling Josh Ogborn, he's my really good buddy instructor, that I'm going to do it. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of time. Because it scares me, and I want to do it because it's freaking scary. But I also want to become a better pilot, And if like you were saying, if you watch paraglide pilots, the ones that fly, like not the ones that sit on the launch with their wings still in their pack. Nothing wrong with that, but I know the type you're talking about. They are so dialed in to what is going on with the weather, and wind is like a river, but you can't see it. But the more you know, the more you can see. So it's just, but you don't get that with speed flying because we don't think about it. That's not the point, When the paraglide dudes come out, we stop flying, And how cool would it be to get to speed fly in the morning, paraglide in the afternoon, and speed fly in the evening? Like, why not
yeah,
broaden the scope of knowledge and time in the air? Because that's what we all want, I mean, for the most part, right? Like,
yeah,
we want to be in the air, we want to be doing the thing. So why not have an extra tool in the toolbox that allows you to do it longer? I mean, I'm all for it, dude. I'm just scared shitless, so I will get there.
yeah. It is scary though, honestly. Like, if you go out and you have your first collapse, you're going to be shaken.
Yeah,
Uh, it's crazy too. Paragliding pilots know this, but maybe not speed guys. You feel the bumps on a bumpy day and you're turbulent. On the speed wing, you get rattled and you fly through it. The feeling of getting into that and then you just shooting up like 100 feet in like 2-3 seconds, that is a changing moment. That is a learning moment. You're gonna remember that first time you get yarded way back and the wing goes back here and it snaps forward and surges and you got to catch it, and then maybe you get a frontal and all that stuff. You're gonna be like, well, I entered the biggest thermal ever. It's just the little bumps you get on a speed wing are the big bumps on a paraglider that you're going to want to find and lift in. And if you don't know where to find those and get those, you're really not being the safest speed flyer you can be.
right.
At least that's just my take on it. But the feeling of getting your first thermal and taking it to the moon is just as rad as your first barrel roll. So,
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like the first time a plane flies underneath you,
God, yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah, that's got to be humbling.
There's this
Like,
site.
okay,
There's this site here in Anchorage where guys you take off from around 1,500 feet, I think. And they were up over 10,000, and passenger jet flew underneath them for Alaska Airlines.
Ooh.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, like I hope
You
they
can't tell me
saw
that's
him.
not rad and outrageous, you know?
I mean, it's cool. I'd be like, I'm higher than you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jake, it's
But that
hilarious,
being
dude.
said, we got a thing for the smaller wings, and that's not something to deny in your heart either. That's why I started flying was for the smaller wings, and I'm glad I flew big wings for as long as I did, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, it might be my springtime post Arctic Valley AK trip. Uh
Yeah.
when it's like not quite, paraglide conditions, like it's not thermic yet, it's still kind of cold. But super predictable, like smooth air. I'd be down for sure. I mean, I like the fact that, dude. I mean, the 14-meter Freya is a big wing from my perspective. I flew this spot the other day near me, like a few minutes away. That's like you wouldn't look at twice, and I never did because I didn't have a wing big enough or flat enough to like launch. I was off the ground in like 10 feet, and I called it like, grassy dogleg right, because it looks like a golf course hole that doglegs to the right. It's just like grass with some rocks mixed in, and it's like, 400 vert, maybe, maybe 350, I don't know. And I mean, I've flown around there a lot with smaller wings, just steeper sections that are up a little higher. But I was like, I wasn't really feeling it. So I'm like, oh, let's just go to like the grassy spot that I just traversed for, a few minutes and was on top of this thing. And I did a couple laps on it, and I'm like, that was awesome. Like, and there, you can't, you fly a smaller wing. It's 13-meter Mirage is a small wing. Like, by no means is that big, right? But just, um, you said it was big earlier. I'm like, it's not, right? I mean, it's actually pretty small when you compare it to big wings like paragliders. But when you fly like a mini wing or a paraglider and you launch and you're just like, that was so easy. I took like 4 steps and I'm
Yeah.
off the ground. And then I compare this to like the line, right? Like my 9-meter Rapidos launched pretty well for how small it is. Like it's pretty flat. The line, you have to run your ass off. Like, first of all, like dead sprint, and then you get no feedback. And I'm not knocking the wing, it's amazing, but you have to
Yeah.
trust that it is going to fly when you need to fly. And it always did. But it's like I had to like loosen up before flying that thing, because you have to be in a dead sprint to get off your ground. And that was the 13. Like that was a big line, quote unquote big. It's still small.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that maybe I don't have to run so fast. Not that I have anything against
Yeah.
running, but in my current state, I'm not running super well. I did run 6 miles the other day. I say that loosely. I was doing like 12-minute miles, but regardless, um, it's kind of cool. I was talking about with Todd yesterday. It's like it's kind of fun to just pull the wing up and take a few steps and be off the ground. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
It's
You
also,
should really get and wanted to talk about this on your show. Uh, I think all speed guys should get a single surface wing because they are so fun. They take off so easy. You can take off in a couple steps like that, and when you turn that thing, it dives. I mean,
that
it glides okay, when you're not doing anything, but when you pull some brake, it's gonna go. And I think uh, basically all speedwing guys and everybody, anyways, needs a single surface wing. But
any
yeah,
any
there's
recommendations on like brand and model?
the pace would probably be a good one because basically the pace is the Dudek run and fly. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That was kind of like the first. They've come out with the Dudek one, run and fly one. Now they came out with a two, and Skywalk pace. Kind of the designer kind of went to Skywalk, so it's kind of like the three. But
That's cool.
I suggest everybody gets a small one, like a 14 or 16, the smallest one you can get, maybe a 12. Um, and they are just so fun. Every speedrun guy would love it because it's the same premise of flying with the dog, where it's the Bluebird groomer day kind of flying, where you're relaxed and just having fun. But they dive. Oh, they're so fun. So fun.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
Jason Hardrath, who was the last episode. he flies like a mini wing. It might be a single skin. I think it's a code, I think. I don't know. But anyway, he flies it like a speed wing. It's just slower. And I'm like, that looks like
Yeah.
so much fun. Cause like you don't always need to be going 60 to 80 miles per hour through tree gates. You could go like
Yeah.
24 miles per hour and be flying in the same proximity level through tree gates and carving and doing like a slalom course. Like that looks like a lot of fun to me. It's just another, there isn't one ski for every conditions, right? For all the conditions. There isn't one wing for every condition, right? Or every site that you fly. It's unfortunately we need a bunch of these things. And I'm looking to my right
Yeah.
because I've got boxes full of wings right now, right? I mean, and I've actually offloaded quite a few lately, just trying to, reduce the clutter a little bit with stuff I'm not using. But they accumulate. Obviously, paragliding, you have more of a financial investment because those things are expensive, dude. Like I was looking at like a Mojo or something. I'm like, I'll just get a Mojo to be chill, and I'm like, it's like $5,000. Like I don't want to.
Are they really? Oh, yeah.
Or maybe
Buy a
not. Maybe it's
used one.
3,800 or something. I mean, I don't necessarily want a Mojo, but I don't know. Like I was just looking at it because of, I'm like, why not? Yeah, it's a little bit more of a budget than even a full price Speedwing. Like we're pretty lucky in that like it's not that expensive. I mean, 2,500,
Yeah.
2,700, maybe the R3X is closer to 3,000, but like until you get into like the Mustache and which isn't a Speedwing, but then you're up in like the PG prices, but it's like, relatively approachable price points. But yeah, used market's the way. Just be careful, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to
Same.
be
Same thing.
a hoarder of wings. I had like 12 at one point, all used. I've only bought one. No, I don't think I've ever actually bought a new one. I got one that was new, but it was a demo. It was never used. And then I traded that for a
Mm.
new one. So I've never actually paid full price. I would love a sponsor too. If Level Wings or Fluid is listening to this, or Ozone or Swing or
Or
whoever the hell, I don't care. I will gladly represent your brand. Let's just get a
we'll put
Speed
the
Venture
biggest sticker
logo.
on that little wing.
I mean, honestly, like if money was like unlimited, like if this business was actually a business and it wasn't ran by the Bank of Vic, which is me, I would get like a wing and have it be all black, and then just have like the Speed Vector logo on the top and bottom skin in pink, just like the hats and the shirts or whatever.
Sick.
Um, yeah, yeah. Eventually, when money grows on trees, and I'm actually turning a profit, which is not my intention, but it would be cool. I'm not denying it. If
Yeah.
if Toyota wants to sponsor the podcast, or
Oh
you know,
shit.
I'll settle for Level Wings or Fluid Wings or any of the wing manufacturers. Like, dude, I'm for it.
I
But
mean, I'm down with Toyota, the new Forerunner. I'm a Forerunner guy. But anyways, we get stuck in a Forerunner talk.
I'm just gonna say I didn't like them at first, and now I like them. I have a 24 Tacoma, and I like it because it's got the 6-cylinder. I'm not a huge fan of the 4 cylinders. I mean, I'm sure they're great. It's just the 6-cylinder's been around for forever. I know it's tried and true. But man, I love that they changed the interior finally in the Forerunner. Like I know the whole vehicle is different, but it was the same vehicle for like 12,
Forever.
15 years or something ridiculous. I mean, and they're great, dude. They romp for sure. But I digress, man. We've been at this a long time, Jake. Is there anything you haven't said that you want to say? I will try not to interrupt you. I promise.
Um, honestly, I kind of want to just talk about wing sizing for a little bit. Like I said, I was super happy in the beginning of my career when I met people who were a little bit, I'm not going to say overweight, but heavier people were getting into the sport because being the kind of guy that was a little husky when I started my career, it makes people of that kind of body uh, think they can't do this shit. You know, and that just wasn't the case when I actually got into it. The sizes of wings that are available and the products we have now, anybody can get off the ground. And I thought that I wouldn't really be able to. And then I thought speed flying would be difficult because of my weight and stuff too. And when I started out in a 15 RS2, I loved that thing. but I also weighed like 240 pounds. So going from a full size wing straight to that was quite a change. And I flew the hell out of that 15-meter. Flew it for about a year solid. And when we say like a year up here, like it's nothing to fly 5 times a week up here if the weather allows. So then I got a 13. I was like, well, let's size down to a 13, and it was the 2RS Plus, the newer one, completely different wing. And I weighed about 220, 230 at that point, all up weight, which I never put into account. I never sat down and did the math, and I never looked at a chart to see I was putting myself in the advanced expert category
Like
of wing loading,
over
you
two.
know.
Yeah, like that's definitely over a two, I think.
And it's all we get stuck on downsizing, well, why do you want to downsize? Take a look at your flying, film your flying. If you look at my flying, um, I think people would be surprised that I'm on a 13, uh, doing the things that I can get out of it. I'm also a little heavier. Definitely, gotten more in shape, and definitely, I'm from the Midwest. I'm that Midwest, farmer stock, stocky man. Um,
Strong
but
bull.
I'm still like right just under 2 pounds on it for skydiver uh, wing loading. Um, and just take a good look at your actual flying. What more do you want out of it? Do you want just a new toy? New toys are rad. New wings are rad. Of course, you're gonna get the smaller, better, lighter, crazier one with the CB bridge that does this, But take a look at your actual flight data. Do you think you can get away with a steeper wing in those areas that you're at? A lot of times, you know, of course, I'm stuck in the trap too of wanting to downsize and downsize. I want to get an 11 next. Um, but if you take a look at my flying, how much closer to the deck am I trying to get? How much steeper am I going to be able to do with the flying and the sights that I have here? Is it really a good move? Maybe not. Um, maybe you'll be a guy like me who um, plateaus and knows where your plateau is. Because that's another thing I want to talk about too is if you're going to do this and you're going to live forever in this sport and be the oldest man standing, you're going to hit a plateau in your skills. And you're going to have to be okay sitting in that plateau of only ever doing stuff up to this whatever level. And you're going to have to accept that and be okay with it. You're not going to downsize forever. You're not going to even fly speed wings forever. You're going to be an old man on a full size paraglider one day. Like in your other podcast, everybody upsized. That's true. And if you're going to downsize, look at your footage. That's just what I say. I mean, you got to be on top of it. You got to know what it feels like, and you're asking the question of should I downsize, and you're looking at all of your options. If you're not looking at your footage and realizing what the flight would be like now on a different wing in these sites, I think that's something that you missed. And that's kind of what I've been realizing lately is because, of course, everybody I fly with weighs 160 pounds. They're all on 9-meter R3S or R3Xs, or the newer guys are flying my wing on a 13. So there's that preconceived group mentality of if you're not on a single digit speed wing, what are you doing? Well, what I'm doing is I'm flying a wing heavily loaded because I weigh 50 pounds more than you, and my wing's going to be bigger. We don't have to complicate it and think that people aren't rad unless they're flying a 9-meter wing. And if you do want to fly a 9-meter wing, look at yourself and your flying and everything and see if your life can handle that. Because getting in these newer and smaller and more aggressive wings, you got to live through that. You got to live through that experience of having a wing that all of a sudden flies 10, 20 miles an hour faster and dives way harder. Can you really truly handle that stuff? And I don't know. I don't think I'm going to really go too much smaller. I don't think I want to get a parakite, which would make things the ranges be completely different. But I don't think a lot of people really truly need to be downsizing. What they need to be doing is trying to figure out how to get the flying they want to get done with the equipment they have. You know what I mean? Which kind
100%.
of brings me into parakites also, which is like, if you can't make a wing go up and down and do energy management skills without kite risers on it, you should really be careful if you're going to a kite riser wing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just be realistic. Let's just all be super realistic. The more realistic we are, the safer it's going to be. And that's like my whole rant about downsizing is, do you really need it? Can your flying handle it? Can the terrain you're going to fly and the places you go to handle it?
I'm with you, man. It's this weird thing where smaller is cooler, and I don't know if that comes from skydiving because that's definitely the case. It's definitely the culture there, but there's gatekeeping and stuff in the way. So it's you're pretty seasoned when you're moving into like 150 square foot, skydiving canopy, which is still big. I mean, that's still like big. It's just more into the high performance or performance, maybe not high performance realm, shorter line set, whatever. I feel like with speed wings, you have to look at excuse me, the wing. Every wing is different. I had an original Mirage 11. I had an 11 meter OG Mirage. It was Dom in like 2016. That thing flew way more chill than the 15 meter 2RS Mirage. They should have named it something
Oh,
completely different.
really?
They should have named it. It's not the same wing. I've flown a 15 meter RS Plus Mirage, and then I've flown a 15 meter 2RS. Totally different wing. Like they should have
Yeah.
named it something else. And I'm not knocking swing. It's just they had an opportunity to name it something else and they didn't.
Yeah.
Because it's so different. So like my really probably my best friend, Tim, he's been on the show a while ago. He's really into fluid wings. He's got a low key 15 meter. That thing is so steep, and he's barrel chested, strong dude like you, like bigger dude, right? In like in a good way, as you are. He wants a 13, but the 15 is so steep that if he went to it, like with the trim closed, it's just it's a steep wing, especially at that wing loading. With the trim closed, I don't think he would clear half the crap he flies with the 13. But then you look at like,
Exactly what I was saying. Stuff like that.
so then, okay, so cool. Like you want an 11, look at the R3 or the R3X, right? Or look at the Flame 2. Like I flew a 13 meter Flame 2 yesterday and was like ridge soaring with like 10 knots of wind. It's like, they're so efficient, but
Nice.
you open up, and I'm horrible at ridge soaring. It's like a joke, right? But I opened up the trim and it was all of a sudden alive in an aggressive speed wing, So it's just, you got to look at all these different wings and all the characteristics, and not only read about them, read the owner's manual or whatever, but like talk to people that fly them. If you're
Yeah.
to level, talk to Ronan. He's a level wings pilot. He knows a lot about their wings. He knows everything about them because that's his like job, basically, or his expectation of him being a pilot for them. Reach out to Pat Hennessy if you have questions about ozone wings. Like these guys can speak on this, People can reach out to you, Jake, to ask you about what you think about the Mirage. I mean, you have a lot of experience flying Mirage.
I would welcome it.
Right,
I would welcome it.
exactly. So just do the homework. And then, like you said, like smaller is not always better. Smaller is a tool. But to go back to what Ian said a few podcasts ago, this dude is Yoda, like he's a freaking ninja, sky god ninja turtle in the best sense. This dude flies a 13 meter Mirage all the time. And he could very easily be flying a 6.5 if he wanted to. But like that's not the right tool. So if you're a one wing quiver kind of pilot, definitely don't go any smaller than a
Yeah.
13, right? And then, like you said, if you can't do it on the 13, you're not going to do it on the 11. Like you might be like, okay, so you'll go faster, you might
Yes.
swoop further, you might be going faster, but are you actually doing it? Because you can swoop the hell out of a 15 meter 2RS. I have. I mean, obviously the sight picture is different. You have to make lower turns, get coaching. You know, you can't roll out of a turn to swoop a 15 2RS like you would an 11 2RS. Like you need more altitude the smaller the wing is.
Yeah.
Please don't go die doing this, but you know, not you, Jake, but just people that are listening to this. And I'm not a swoop expert, you know, but I love swooping. That's like literally been my sole focus. And the last year I was jumping every day and then freaking in speed flying. That's pretty much what I've been looking at, you know, because that's what gets my jollies. It's also super dangerous. So you know, go easy. The thing about kite rides, like you said, dude, it's a cheat code, man. Those things are insane. The line, bro. I mean, you saw that video, but there are videos that I didn't post on Speed Vector Instagram that I put on my personal page where I was doing a super aggressive, like perpendicular to the ground 90 and going 60 miles per hour for like 200 yards on a flat grass surface.
Oh, yeah.
And it is like outrageous, dude. And it's all in your hands. It's so easy, but it doesn't like you can do the same thing with your standard speed wing. You just have to know how to fly on rears and you have to know how to
You gotta know.
like the everything, you know, but the parakites are so efficient that it eliminates the need to really understand what you're doing. You know, I mean, obviously you have to roll out at the right altitude and you got to make sure you're level before you're going to hit the ground because the ground's there. You're going to hit it if you don't do something, you know, but it's easy to manipulate, you know, once you learn the amount of movement you have to do with your hands, it's a joke. Like and that's what people are getting in trouble, man, because they're easy to fly. If you can launch it, you know, you can fly it. So just, yeah, sound advice, man. Super sound advice. This has been awesome. I can't believe we've been talking for almost 3 hours. It feels like 10 minutes, dude. I could talk to you all day. I feel like we're very,
whatever.
very similar people, which is cool. Where can people find you? Like on Instagram or wherever?
On Instagram, Jake and the Flying Pickles. My name is so common that I can't just like put Jake Long. You know how many Jake Longs there are? I had to do something weird like Jake and the Flying Pickles. But on Instagram, it's Jake and the Flying Pickles.
Cool. Yeah, so that's very Midwest of your parents. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, dude, we'll do this again for sure because we've been at it for a long time. We could probably go another 3 hours, but yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on here, reaching out, and I encourage. So just to give some backstory here, I've never met Jake. I didn't reach out to Jake. I think I followed you on Instagram because you followed me. I try to follow everybody back because why not? You know, I love everybody. Like we might as well all be friends here. But Jake reached out to me and pitched him coming on the podcast. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, of course. Like I'd love to just talk, you know, like let's go have a chat. And this has been awesome, man. You officially have the record for longest podcast so far, which I love. That is super cool. So I will be listening to this one back for sure. But
yeah, thanks for having me on and accepting my cold call. You know, I loved your show so much and thought, you know, one, people need to know about our ski resort out here.
Hell yeah, dude.
You know, just thought it'd be fun, good time, and it was a good time.
Oh, Ben, likewise. Yeah, likewise. Cheers to you, my friend. And I'm serious. Like I'm a man of my word, and I ask people that are close to me. I'm a man of my word. I am coming to Arctic Valley, Alaska, to ski probably mid to late April because we shut down like April 15th. So after that, I've got some time. I will 100% be coming out there.
Yeah,
that is happening.
You just need your S2 and you need your ski launch rating. That's what you need.
I've got an S3, but I don't know how to get a ski launch rating. Can I get it there?
It's kind of like an add-on that it's like if your buddy went out speed riding with you and watched you take off a couple times.
Check. I'm going to be speed riding with Todd this winter, so I'll just have him sign the dotted line for me.
You'll get it done.
Yeah.
You'll get it done.
Sweet. Right on, man. Well, hey, I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you in April.
Yes, sir, dude. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Sick, dude. Thank you. Ooh.